Putain, mais regardez, il y a des hélicoptères. Mais what the fuck? Bonjour YouTube, comment vas-tu? On est parti pour cette quatrième session sur Disco Elysium, où la brasse va reprendre du service. C'est reparti pour brasser. Où est-ce qu'on s'en est arrêté hier? On s'en était arrêté au moment où il fallait aller dormir. Il était l'heure d'aller dormir. Qu'est-ce qu'on avait à faire? Alors. Et c'est vrai que maintenant, voilà. Alors. Allez, il va falloir qu'on s'amuse à aller voir dans le box du syndicat. Dans un premier temps. Il va falloir qu'on effectue des recherches sur l'armure. Parce qu'on a du coup commencé à regarder un peu l'armure. C'est juste qu'on peut pas descendre le cadavre parce que sinon on va le décapiter. Donc on a besoin d'aide. Faut qu'on trouve du monde. Faut qu'on demande de l'aide. Alors qu'on aille du coup sur le port. On a trouvé l'accès pour aller sur le port. Donc c'est ce qu'on va sûrement commencer à faire après avoir dormi. Perdre mon insigne, pas tout de suite, parce que normalement on a vu que notre veste s'est trouvée vers le port, donc peut-être qu'il y a mon insigne dedans, on verra bien. Les tatouages, va falloir trouver les tatouages à quoi ils correspondent. Qui a appelé? Va falloir chanter au karaoké. Il va falloir s'entraîner sur la réalité. Ouh, vous vivez là, du coup.
Yes.
Rien. À demain. À demain. Ciao. Ah, du coup, il est à côté de nous. Ah oui, du coup là, il est plus là. Donc si on veut, on peut s'amuser à ressortir. Et à continuer sans lui. Ah oui, c'est vrai. On avait vu, il y avait certains trucs qu'on pouvait pas... leur prendre de la drogue. C'est vrai qu'on savait qu'on pouvait se bourrer, par exemple, se droguer. Est-ce qu'il est là Il est toujours là. Lol. Bon, dans tous les cas, allons dormir. Hein. Ne faisons rien d'insensé pendant qu'il n'est pas là. Ah, il y a de l'argent là. Je l'ai pas vu. Voilà, boum. 50... Ah, on peut pas faire de karaoké tant qu'on n'aura pas trouvé une musique. Les églises de la Saint-Seiya. Hop. Ah, il n'y a pas un test là.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression.
Comment on peut... Ah, si c'était là, non? Carte. Ah oui, c'était quoi déjà la cape, du coup? Mise en scène. On n'a rien qui va...
A mirror hangs on...
Non, pas grand-chose. Avant notre gueule en plein écran à chaque fois là. Ah, je peux ramasser tout. Ah oui, je peux ramasser les bouteilles. Je vais nettoyer mon appart. Allez. Hop, une autre bouteille là. Hop, une autre bouteille là. Ça rapporte de l'argent. Hop, une bouteille là. Une bouteille là. Ah, bon. Il reste juste le gros rouge là. Mais bon, je pense que...
The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours. The sheets look awful.
On va se glisser dans le lit. Dormons.
The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes.
Oh, on arrive à dormir quand même.
And then sleep doesn't come.
Là. Le soleil ne vient pas. Le soleil. Le sommeil.
And then sleep doesn't come.
Mais j'ai envie de dormir.
Obviously, you're in bed with your eyes closed, but it's not happening.
Pourquoi?
Maybe it's the bed's fault.
Examiner l'oreiller.
Its synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. The pillowcase smells oddly. Smells of alcohol and sweat and grease.
Ah bah ça. L'alcool, je me demande d'où.
It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This is your body here, intimate and warm, breathing. A bit tense in the muscles. Relax.
Se retourner, le fameux truc du on se tourne et on se retourne dans le lit.
Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is still trying to solve the case, isn't it? Something to do with, what was it that the lieutenant said? Union? And it's gone again. Your thoughts lost between the slowing brain waves.
Ah bah, on a un policier, on en est pas un.
Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and images start forming.
Ah, c'est-à-dire qu'on rêve. Ou qu'on cauchemarde. Un bon cauchemar. Ah bah lol, c'est moi qui ai pendu. Ah non, pendu par la boule de disco quoi.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood?
Oh, c'est ma propre voix ça. Dehors de ton enfance? Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Je me souviens de rien. Je suis né dans un hôpital où les gens se rendent généralement pour mourir.
You're not kidding anyone, Harry. You don't remember shit. Tell me.
Non, je me souviens de rien.
Do you remember your wife's hand on your face?
De la main de ta femme sur ton visage. Bah non, c'est juste que... elle n'est plus là, mais qu'elle m'aimait. Dis-moi ce qui se passe! Je n'en répondais pas avant de savoir qui tu es. Bah c'est toi. C'est ton toi. Tu as dit qui? Je suis parti.
Oh no, funky baby, you stayed. It was the rest of it that left.
No.
Or you just stood there, with one hand on the bottle and the other on your dick, watching it go.
Ah oui, on a sombré quoi.
Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours?
Je ne veux pas revenir. Je m'en souviens.
No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. You failed. You failed me.
Est-ce que c'est mon moi disco quoi?
You failed Elysium.
Oh, Elysium. Comme le titre. Disco Elysium. Qu'est-ce que Elysium?
Everything. The pale and the useless. On the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years of written history. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people. And you failed every single one of them. You really fucked up.
Ouh là 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 là. Mais je t'ai déjà vu auparavant.
No, you haven't. You're just sleep talking. And the act is wearing thin, too. The spots on the disco ball fade around you.
Non, je veux rester le roi du disco.
You'll be back in those cold snakeskins in no time, sweating up the bed. Stinky boy.
Je sais, je peux en revenir.
You're not coming back from shit, thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours, bumping into things and acting like a clown. Who are you kidding?
Essaye de résoudre cette affaire.
You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin, sleep-like state. More glass than velvet, grinding in your head.
Oula.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of new type of hangover.
Mon Dieu, il y en a une autre vérité. Il y a une autre vérité.
Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before.
La culpabilité.
Just
La
think
pierre
of
des
the
gueules de
shit
bois.
you saw. Here it comes too. So soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork. Barely let you sleep at all. Time to get those clothes on, Harry. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
Ah ouais, on est vraiment... on est complètement en train de péter un câble. Hein. On est complètement en train de péter une durite, quoi.
Good going, buddy.
Bien joué, mon pote. De quoi? Bordel, c'était quoi ça? J'ai fait un très beau rêve, j'ai été édifiant, revigorant. Il était revigorant ce rêve. Je me suis rappelé à quel point j'étais une grosse merde. C'est donc ça qui se passerait lorsque je fermerai les yeux à présent. J'ai fait un très beau rêve.
Really? Because you feel even worse this morning than you did last night.
Bordel, qu'est-ce qui retourne par rond chez moi?
You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think.
Non, je me sens vraiment super bien.
That's not really true. Your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get some more.
L'électrochimie qui veut que je me re-shoot.
You're too weak to say no now. Waking up is the worst part. Maybe somewhere down the line you could decline.
Ah non, j'ai pas réussi à dire non. Détecter, c'est ma vie. Accepter. Non, ça va aller, je vais pas me mettre à chercher du speed.
Are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week? Let's be honest, 2 weeks. Maybe 3. You won't make it. Half the town will be dead by then. You will be fired.
Non, je peux très bien y arriver sans speed. Personne ne va mourir.
Suit yourself, slow, sad shell man. See how you do without your spark.
Non. C'est fini toutes ces conneries. J'ai fini avec tout ça.
The door is closed. Still nothing. This door can only be opened with a...
Ouais. Pas aller voir notre voisin. Ah, c'est aujourd'hui le Nintendo Direct. Oh, ah, c'est ouvert là. 7h34, mais bon, c'est ouvert. Qu'est-ce que tu regardes le Nintendo Direct pour voir plus de vidéos de Hollow Knight?
Morning.
Il vous fait un petit signe de tête.
Looks like we can get to work at once. The union muscle.
Gros bras du syndicat débarqué. Il indique les portes du réfectoire. On l'air chahuteur. On devrait aller les voir, leur parler. Yes, ouais. Par contre, de nous leur parler. Mais non, c'est parce que c'est eux qui dirigent implicitement la vie ici. Ce sont les types dont Garth nous a parlé hier.
I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the manager said. One loose thread less to worry about. And one big problem to replace it.
Que veut dire par
I
chahuteur?
mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the union. These men who drink beer for breakfast, there's talk of an armed wing of the union.
C'est bon, c'est un peu comme manger du pain, c'est juste qu'il est liquide quoi.
I think it's them.
Tiens, des hommes qui boivent de la bière au petit déjeuner. Il paraît que le syndicat... Tiens. Il paraît que le syndicat dépose un bras armé appelé la bande à Hardy. La bande à Hardy. C'est la bande à Hardisson. Ils sont nombreux et si on appelait des renforts.
Just escalate tensions. No captain would sign off on it. Solving one murder isn't worth a conflict between the RCM and the Débardeurs Union.
Les débardeurs, les syndicats de débardeurs.
In fact, even the death of 2 detectives might not warrant an all-out war. So let's keep a cool head, okay? One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own terms. But aren't you curious to know what they have to say about the murder?
Ah oui, je relasse la jouer en mode... Je reviendrai vers vous. Ne vous inquiétez pas, votre tour viendra.
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you...
Qu'est-ce que vous faites là?
Just a moment.
C'est toi, on va pas prendre du café.
She's agitated, judging from the way she keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
Elle est agitée.
And there's no public phones nearby?
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, Matt.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway.
Bonjour madame,
I'm
tout va
glad
bien?
to see you again, dear. Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie.
Mon
I was
bichet.
just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working. The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there. Or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too.
Quoi, le problème avec la ligne téléphonique?
The manager was vague about it.
Why would he be vague about phone problems? This is something to look into later. Ask God, maybe.
Ouais, on ira le demander à Garth. Mais je pense que parce que, comme il dit, tout doit passer par le syndicat. Elle l'a dit, Cindy ou Déborah, ou je sais pas comment elle s'appelle, la meuf là. Sylvie. Elle a dit tout passe par le syndicat. Donc c'est pour ça peut-être que le téléphone, il faut voir le syndicat pour passer un coup de téléphone. Quoi.
To let the young woman who's house sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and our friend Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing, and I haven't heard from them.
Ah,
I
vous voulez
was
qu'on enquête?
also hoping she'd heard from Morel.
Elle baisse ses yeux. Bon, en même temps, c'est la première fois que notre mari disparaît.
That's just it. This isn't like him at all.
Ok.
He always plans his expeditions so carefully.
Un mari disparu avec son meilleur ami. Ouais. Je pense que c'est une enquête pour nous, ça.
But you have more important things to worry
Non,
about.
non, madame. Vous savez, nous sommes de la police, madame. Nous aidons tout le monde. Et puis bon, ça va prendre du temps à résoudre cette putain de meurtre, donc autant voilà, gagner de l'XP, de l'argent, autant essayer d'aider le peuple au mieux qu'on peut. Vous pouvez me parler de cette expédition à laquelle participait votre mari? Votre mari est un scientifique, pas moi de Morel, son apparence, sa personnalité, votre relation. On avait posé plusieurs questions. Il faut essayer d'établir un portrait de la personne qu'on recherche, savoir un peu où chercher. Vous pouvez me parler de cette expédition dans laquelle vous
Some
parlez?
field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extremely rare species of insect.
Donc vous allez me dire que Lena, la femme du cryptozoologue, ça voulait dire que votre mari était un cryptozoologue? Ouais. Moi je pensais que c'était juste un mec qui faisait de la crypto-monnaie, quoi. Oula, je sais pas ce qui se passe dehors, mais ça y va à fond là.
But
Une
they
manif,
should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the water lock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. What
Donc,
could be keeping them?
il est traverser l'écluse et descendre la côte. Ok.
The waterlock. That was broken. Could this be it?
C'est vrai elle est cassée jusqu'à mardi matin, on avait vu. Je crois. Non, mercredi matin. C'est là. Par là. Ah mais non mais ça y va à fond en fait là. Il y a une manif. Mais quel jour? Mais mardi? Mais il n'y a pas de manif le mardi. Vous les entendez pas parce que le son est parfaitement bien géré. Une seconde, qui est Gary? Vous lui faites confiance?
Oh, sweetie, it's nothing like that.
Elle sourit.
Gary's as loyal as they come. I trust him with my husband's life
Ok.
any day.
Ok. Bon. Sinon, on avait vu un panneau, l'écluse est cassée. Ils sont probablement coincés là-bas.
Oh my. What happened to the water lock?
Sûrement un problème technique.
Well, whatever the cause, I'm thankful. To both of you. You've spared me another sleepless night.
Il n'y a pas de souci, il n'y a pas de souci.
You're welcome.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out.
Bien sûr, bien sûr.
Some left field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up that vanilla murder investigation.
C'est ça. Ah, c'est bon, ils arrivent en bas de chez moi. Vous allez peut-être entendre la musique à balles et les klaxons et les trompettes.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the water lock's been repaired. And it's cold out there.
Si je veux, je lui ferai savoir que vous êtes ici. Quand et si je me rends sur place. Acceptez la tâche. Bien sûr, bien sûr.
Oh, you're such
Pas
a
de souci.
dear. Thank you, sweetie.
Si vous pouvez me donner son apparence, s'il vous plaît.
Oh dear. I'm not sure where to begin.
Vous pouvez me décrire votre main un peu.
Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work, but he's quite gentle.
Ok.
It's always a challenge to describe the person you know best in the world.
Ah oui, là vous devez l'entendre là. Oh, ça pète, hein. Oh! Bah, c'est fort. Donc, Rétion. Si on essaie de trouver dans la rue, de quel genre de personne rechercherait-nous?
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame.
Ok.
And he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even.
Il ressemble à un scientifique fou. Ok.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case.
De combien de temps vous mariez?
We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most
Yes.
numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more somehow.
Comment êtes-vous rencontrés?
By a dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident, and he'd just divorced. We hit it off, and, well, here we are.
Classique, classique.
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later.
Pas de soucis, pas de soucis.
I hope I've been useful.
Apparemment, c'est
Oh,
un secteur.
it's fascinating, but I shouldn't bore.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Et un regard de coin pour me dire il y a des choses à foutre, quoi. Non, je vais vous parler de l'insecte.
Well, it's a phasmid technically, but
Ah yes, Phasmatodea, a diverse group of insects whose bodies resemble twigs, leaves, that sort of thing. Ghost insects.
Oui, je vois de quoi tu parles.
where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. It disguises itself among the reeds here on the Insulindian coast.
Ah,
Hence its name, the Insulindian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering the phasmid with us officers.
To be honest, this animal sounds like a cryptid. You wouldn't happen to be searching for some kind of gnome of Jeroma, would you?
Oula, il nous shit, Kim. Hein.
I smell pseudoscience, he's thinking. Not a big fan of that.
Ah bah non. Oui, le gnome de Jérôme, bah oui.
It's simply elusive. So much so that most establishment zoologists doubt it exists at all.
Establishment. I thought so.
Alors il est dangereux, il est précieux. Est-ce qu'il a des super pouvoirs? Est-ce qu'il a des pouvoirs cool? Qu'est-ce qui vous fait penser que le fasse mider dans le coin?
Well, some teenagers making out in the reeds saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect that looks like the reeds. Gary sent us the clipping.
La culture est votre
Of
preuve.
course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insulindian phasmid perfectly.
Enthusiasm has wiped the worry from her face. Her eyes sparkle behind her glasses.
I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the Insulindian phasmid. All scientists have their little hobby horses.
Il est précieux?
Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie.
Est-ce qu'il a des pouvoirs super cool?
Yes, it can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it stayed hidden all these years. Centuries even.
Est-ce qu'il est dangereux? Est-ce que un animal de la taille d'un petit morceau de bois est dangereux?
Oh dear. I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. It is very special.
Ouh.
Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure.
Pas de soucis, on verra bien. Gart!
Can I help you?
Gart!
Got the 20 real?
Non, pas encore, attends.
Then why are you wasting another thing? Great.
Donc la ligne téléphonique est morte.
Yes, and the phone company is taking its sweet time sending someone to fix it. Losers.
Ça peut être étrange. C'est vrai que c'était un acte criminel?
It's not strange, it's inconvenient.
C'est vrai que c'est
Who told you that?
je ne dévoilerai jamais mes sources. C'est un déshonneur.
Fine, yeah. It looked like someone had messed with the wiring. It was shortly after the hanging, but I don't know if it's at all related. Plenty of assholes around here who aren't murderers.
Ah oui, c'est vrai qu'il disait qu'il y avait Des gens qui volaient les câbles, le cuivre dans les câbles téléphoniques.
If you do find out who cut the line, though, let me know so I can forward them the repair bill. Yes?
Hop. Ah bah toi t'es là, toi tiens.
Let me
Voilà.
handle this.
J'ai la faim me fouler avant de sonner.
Detective disorientated. Are you still wondering where you are? This is Martinez, in case you've forgotten.
Ah.
I advise you not to overstay your welcome.
Ah, votre visage a bien changé depuis hier, hein? Jeune jardinière.
Her entire character has shifted. This young woman is
Comment
cold
c'est-
as ice.
C'est vous, la jardinière. Je savais que vous n'étiez pas jardinière.
That's right. I am not a gardener. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? You think he has information that will help you? Maybe he does.
Dis l'homme à droite.
That's Titus. Talk to him. But know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming. Nothing official. The District of Martinez does not recognize your authority to make arrests.
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest if we have to.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her.
Et si c'était à vous que je voulais parler et pas à Titus?
What you want is of no significance, officer. Don't test your authority. In Martinez, you are no one.
Ouais, elle va se calmer la petite là, parce que je lui en retourner une. Qu'est-ce que vous allez me faire?
What are we going to do to you? The union isn't going to do anything to you. It is not a crime syndicate. It is a labor
Le lieutenant
organization.
n'approuve pas mon approche. Mais j'ai mon approche très directe, moi. Alors, qu'est-ce que tu vas me faire? C'est simple. Tu me cherches, c'est ça?
Goddamn right it is.
If anything, it is the RCM who do things to people. But we digress.
C'est quoi votre rôle dans tout ça?
Like I already told you, I'm a legal counselor.
Ouais, bien sûr.
Do you have hearing problems?
Mais je vais lui en retourner une, elle, hein?
Aggressive? You make your living enforcing violence. These people are just dock work.
Just dock workers? Do dock workers spy on the police? We let you off easy, miss. Don't think it will happen again.
Listen, you moral intern lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
On est bien aimé.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders.
La privatisation, ce n'est pas illégal. C'est cool et amusant. Peut-être que vous avez tous séché les cours d'histoire. Non, alors genre la phrase pas très communiste. On est dans un RP communiste. Je sais pas où vous avez entendu ça, mais c'est faux. Le MCR a des principes solides, pas comme vous les socialistes. Ça me plaît. Poussons le bouchon un peu plus loin. Une révolte armée que mijote le syndicat.
Look, a comedian. Do your job, ask your questions, then get.
Strange. It's as if people don't believe a cop could be a socialist revolutionary.
C'est ça. Quand je fais genre, quand je leur dis que je suis communiste, les gens rigolent. C'est marrant ça. Non. On reviendra, hein. Salut.
You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that
Bien
covers
sûr.
the plaza
C'est
mosaic.
quoi? C'est projection analytique. Est-ce que j'ai pas du stuff? Ah oui, c'est des tâches du lundi. Ah oui, d'accord, ok. Merde, c'était quoi, j'ai
You
dit?
see a set of
J'ai oublié.
tire tracks in the brown slush.
Projection analytique. Qu'est-ce que je peux retenter avec le pendu du coup?
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and white boots. His skin
Vous lui
is
avez parlé en
marked
rêve,
with
plus un.
decaying veins and blotched by the fish lips stay
Dommage.
silent in response.
I told you, he is male, 4250.
Ouais, j'ai voulu. J'ai tenté. Hein. On avait le droit de retenter, donc on a retenté. Bon. Vous pouvez accéder à notre veste depuis ici. Mais il y avait fallait tenter un jet de je sais plus quoi. On va aller voir. Maintenant qu'on a des vêtements, on va aller voir.
The tarpaulin cloak with possible RCM markings is still caught.
Mise en scène. 12. Ah, déjà j'ai -1 en mise en scène. Hop, on enlève notre pantalon déjà. Hop, nos chaussures aussi.
The tarpaulin cloak with
42.
possible RCM markings is still caught on the railing.
J'ai peur de me casser la gueule et de perdre de la vie en fait. Et merde. Dommage.
Nope, no. That's still too high. What were you thinking? You're not a gymnast. You're a boxer. And you've...
Allô?
Yes? What do you want to know?
Allô? Non, non, je veux rien savoir.
Good. Excuse me? You have a distinctive way of walking. If I were to walk in front of you, we would surely collide.
A moment passes. The lieutenant glances at the sports watch on his wrist.
Mais bordel! Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Lâchez l'affaire.
What do you want to know? Good. Excuse me? Frank, some you time? This is a police investigation, not a journey of self-discovery. You'll still have your evenings to yourself.
A moment passes.
What about me? What do you mean?
Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Allô? Et comment je... Allô? Excusez-moi, j'arrive pas à comprendre comment je quitte ici, là.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Ah! Mais il fait noir, je vois plus rien! Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Allô? Mais il a cassé le jeu! J'ai rien compris. D'accord. Non. Laissons ça tranquille pour le moment. C'est qui toi? T'es pas là hier. Rien à foutre de cette crevure. Ok. Et du coup ça me dit que je peux retenter le pendu. Mon dieu, mais t'es qui toi? Nouvelle personne. Bonjour. Ouvrière. Vous apercevez une femme robuste en train de marmonner. Elle semble occupée à feuilleter des livres. Pas de chichi, un simple bonjour. Il est bien celui-ci?
Yes, hello?
Qui êtes-vous?
Me? No one. I'm just a working class woman.
She doesn't really want to be disturbed that much. If she's such a working class woman, why isn't she working?
Bah, c'est un peu la merde, non, au doc? Ah non, que faites-vous?
Not all the time. Right now I'm browsing books. Even a working class woman needs something to read.
Bien, bien. Bien, bien, bien. Phénoménal!
It is.
Je suis
I
policier.
know you are.
Everyone can see that. The rectangles.
La loi, c'est moi, ok? Avez-vous besoin de l'aide d'un policier?
What with?
What with? A lot of things. For example, people tend to go missing.
Peut-être que votre mari est disparu. Observez en train de parcourir les livres. Je peux vous aider? Je vais vous aider à choisir un livre. Peut-être que votre mari a disparu.
My husband? No, he's not.
Alors, où est-ce qu'il est?
I don't know. At home now? Out drinking with his friends? Working?
Where is this going, officer?
Le mec est en train de lui monter le chiron. Ah ah, donc vous ne savez pas où est votre mari? Ah ah, ah ah, ah, ça se trouve, il est avec son amante.
Yes, but I don't really need to know where my husband is. Not all the time.
Oh, vous n'aimeriez pas le savoir?
No.
Elle plante son doigt dans le vôtre, elle tape nerveusement du pied droit. Je suis entièrement prêt à vous aider à retrouver votre mari disparu.
Why are we still talking about this? I haven't.
She has, though. The husband is totally lost. You should tell her.
Chut, ma grosse.
Okay.
Ça va aller, gros. Tout va bien.
What?
Y a pas aucun mal à pas savoir où se trouve son mari et rien de honteux à faire.
Who said anything about shame? Stop talking down to me. My husband
Ah, je lui monte le chiron. Peut-être que vos enfants ont disparu. Peut-être que vos cacatoès ont disparu. Et oui. Ça, ils pensent pas assez, mais les cacatoès disparus. Et ouais. Est-ce qu'il y a un policier qui se penche sur les affaires de cacatoès disparus? Je crois pas. Hein. Vos enfants ont disparu?
No, absolutely not.
Ok, donc où sont vos enfants?
Are you a policeman or a nanny?
Une nounou, où sont vos enfants? Je pose des questions sur ce qui me chante. Où sont-ils?
They are not missing.
You know where they are. They're at home, smoking, giving the ladder of vices a
Ils
chance.
sont à la maison exacte en train de fumer des cigarettes.
What? That's just. My daughters are perfectly fine. They're with their friends down in Shamrock. There's nothing.
Ouais.
They're almost grown up now, anyway. They're past the age they need me protecting them from everything now.
Je crains que le danger ne soit désormais plus présent que jamais. Vous savez, à cet âge, il y a le sexe, la drogue, peut-être même la K-pop. Je rigole.
My youngest girl, Jolie, is just shy of 16.
Mhm.
Jenny, she is turning 18 next month.
Ah,
But we shouldn't even be talking about them.
est-ce que vous pourriez me les décrire? N'importe quel signe d'initiative juste pour faciliter leur identification.
Why do you need to know this?
No,
Haven't I repeatedly told you that they're not missing? That they're in Shamrock, safe and well, at some stupid party?
C'est pas l'enquête, je m'efforce d'être professionnel.
There is no investigation here. I can tell you that.
Avec, je lui montre le fion. Peut-être que vos cacatoès sont
I
disparus.
don't mean to disrespect, sir, but you are being a bit of a cockatoo here.
Comment ça?
For what it's worth, I agree. But cockatoos can't be stopped when they get like this. It's better to indulge him at this point.
Comment ça, c'est moi le cacatoès?
Go read up on them if you're so interested.
Maybe you should. What if the cockatoo is your astral captain? Or your heraldic bird?
Ah, c'est une quête maintenant. En fait, c'est bien ce que je vais faire. Merci du conseil.
Wonderful. The story's open.
Tâche obtenue, savoir quel est mon oiseau irrédié.
Her hands move over the book covers. The tips of her fingers look rough. Another comrade. Years
Encore une
ago,
camarade.
pressing
Oui.
down on her shoulders. She
Bah oui,
doesn't
c'est une
know
ouvrière.
for all the work she's done for man.
La prendre dans mon bras. Viens la camarade.
You step in and close your arms around this foreign body, wandering astray in touch. There's a small movement beneath your hands as you shut your eyes. Then a tiny voice breaks out.
What is happening?
She seems to be confused. Your hands are wrapped around her polyester coat. The fabric feels cold, moist from the sea nearby.
Mérite un grand hug.
The situation is oddly intimate. Your cheek is pressed against her shoulder. Her hand is trapped between your chest. 5 seconds pass, and
What are you doing,
Je me
officer?
bats pour la classe ouvrière.
Fighting for it how?
Avec des tonnes de câlins. Un câlin après l'autre. Un câlin par jour, ça évite de s'embourgeoiser. Vous savez, quand on devient bourgeois, on oublie un peu ces petits gestes de la vie. De la vie de... Vous savez, de vrai être humain. Parce qu'on n'est plus vraiment un être humain quand on est en bourgeoisie. Et un simple câlin nous rappelle nos racines. Un câlin après l'autre.
Oh,
Elle m'en laisse sans retour, et voilà. Et oui, c'est comme ça que nous rétablirons le communisme. Par des câlins.
I guess it's better than nothing. Keep fighting on, my fellow comrade.
Ouais. Yes.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
Pas tout pour l'instant.
the woman before you nods and returns.
Ah oui, c'est comme ça que la lutte ouvrière continuera. Vous aussi chez vous. Bonjour, c'est encore moi.
Again, esteemed officer, and welcome to crime, romance.
Cherche un livre sur les cacatoès.
Cockatoos. There should be one upstairs, right next to the shelf of biographies.
Ok, merci. Ça c'est quoi ça? Les biographies?
These shelves are overburdened.
section des
A
romans
couple of
policiers.
spook novels hide amidst all the detective books.
Non, ça c'est...
Shelves full of biographies of
Ah là. Là. Un livre sur
a
les cacatoès.
sulphur-crested cockatoo sits on the cover, its beak slightly open. It looks as if the bird is calling out. Turns out that there are so many different cockatoo species. You don't have behavioral problems. That's garbage. You're cool.
Et moi ce bouquin sur les
It's a
cacatoès.
must-have if you own a cockatoo. I've heard they're quite capricious.
Libraire en colère vous flingue du regard. 4 Je vais essayer de le voler. Oh non.
Slowly, you move your hand toward the
Do we really need to do this? I think not.
Mais je peux l'acheter. Je reviendrai. Je reviendrai essayer de le voler. Tant pis. Attends, mais une chance sur une. J'avais 3 chances sur 4. Viens pour la... Non. Bon, remontons. Je me souviens qu'il y avait un mec sur un bateau, je crois, non? On avait un peu rush, je sais plus pourquoi on avait rush. Pourquoi on avait rush? Il y a un truc là. On va le fermer. Il n'y a pas un mec sur un bateau, je sais plus quoi. Ah si là. Bonjour monsieur.
A striking woman leans
Joyce
against
Messier, madame,
her
excusez-moi.
sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Bonjour madame.
Good morning, officers. I'm Joyce.
Ou bien bonjour Joyce. Elle vous tend la main en guise de salutation.
Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
Joyce L, que signifie le L? Qu'est-ce qui nous a trahi? Bah genre, je sais pas moi, genre les carrés blancs sur ta veste, comme l'a dit Kim il y a 2 minutes. Il serre la main.
I'm glad to see you here.
Oh, sa poignée de main est ferme et froide.
Like steel, there is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
Ah.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will.
Ah bah bien le bonjour madame, bien il n'y a pas de souci.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
Je n'étais pas obligé de le dire, Kim.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief even. The lieutenant is hatching some scheme.
Non.
It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
Ah.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
C'est sur un bateau. C'est bien Sherlock.
Why, yes I am.
Il n'y a pas beaucoup de gens en bateau, non? Il y a un nom ce bateau? Il s'appelle Jenny?
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
Attendez. Attendez. On est sur un archipel?
Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Ah, on est sur le caillou?
Technically, the neighboring Ozone and Face à la Mer island groups are
Face
archipelagos.
à la mer.
La Caillou, by contrast, is a single fertile landmass, the fourth largest island in the world. It is not an archipelago.
Attendez, je croyais que le caillou était une seule grande île.
Okay, if you want to get technical, the point is we're all on
Ah oui.
islands here,
Ah
and
oui, oui.
sail is still the most expedient way to get from one island to another, especially when you're in a hurry to resolve a strike.
N'empêche, j'ai jamais vu quelqu'un naviguer sur un bateau ici.
I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle.
Oh, elle a mis un tac là, Kim.
It's for crossing long distances in the greater Ravachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
Allez, chais, tu voulais t'amuser, Kim? Bah tiens, allez.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich.
Ah, le communiste que je suis, a envie de dire. Oh là là, j'ai envie de lui faire dire. C'est une bourgeoise, hein? Vous êtes en bourgeoisie et vous vous baladez en bateau.
Before you do, it would be pertinent to ask other questions.
Ah oui.
Gather more info on this boat of hers.
On va peut-être, avant de l'énerver, on va peut-être lui poser les questions pour en apprendre un peu plus quand même. Il a un nom ce bateau?
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
Cordelette. Oh là là. Oh les jeunes. Mais quelle sorte de bateau s'agit-il?
It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business. My sloop, I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
Ouh.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder week.
C'est tellement ça. Mais Kim, c'est sur ça que c'est ça que j'adore ce jeu. Vraiment, le Kim, il a balancé une phrase au début en mode vous allez voir, ça va être génial cet interrogatoire. Et vraiment, les premières questions qu'on lui pose n'ont rien, mais sont à des millions d'années-lumière de l'enquête. On lui parle de son bateau et savoir s'il a un prénom. Et je peux lancer tout un putain de truc sur le capitalisme, quoi. Vous avez un permis pour ce bateau? Genre, je dis ça, je sais même pas s'il faut un permis pour avoir un bateau dans ce genre de monde, dans ce monde.
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly Fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
Good.
Alors, parle-moi un peu de Wild Pines. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
Alors, que fait le groupe alors?
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things.
Ah, c'est vous qui êtes derrière les camions et les camionneurs qu'on a
And
vus.
that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration.
Ah,
Offshore
Wild Pines, c'est
platforms.
ceux qui gèrent le port.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain.
Qui sont les autres Indo-tribes?
Baptiste, LUM, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
C'est en bonne compagnie, semble-t-il.
Why, thank you.
Elle semble de passer sans cette remarque. Donc je fais une remarque par rapport à ce que m'a dit mon cerveau. Combien d'argent pour ces Wild Pines?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
Impressionnant. C'est tout. Je croyais que Wild était une grosse entreprise. Alors 20 milliards. On galère, on vend nos bouteilles 10 centimes. Impressionnant.
20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid. Then there are capital improvements, interest payments. A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility.
D'où sortent tous ces milliards de Wild Pines?
They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lormantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation and
Très heureux d'avoir posé
madness
ces questions.
have gone into this endeavour. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
Commencer avec un monopole royal, ça doit donner une longueur d'avance.
You know more than you let on.
Ah oui.
It helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, Wild Pines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that.
Ça, c'est que je lui ai retourné en mode alors, je suis pas si con que ça.
You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
Oui, ça fait une sacrée entreprise, oui. Vous n'êtes pas vous-même le transport, ce sont les travailleurs qui le font. Je suis obligé. Je fais un roleplay communiste. Je suis obligé. Je fais roleplay communiste. Je dois répondre ça.
We built this district.
There it is. She owns up to it.
All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, with its bastions. The plazas Meteor and Mosaic. Even some of the old street lamps have been put back thanks to the investments from the WP.
Elle montre du doigt la digue qui se dresse derrière vous.
Before Martinez was swallowed by the industrial harbour, even before it was part of Revachol, long before Terminal B was erected here, The Pines built it as a resort for its Revacholian employees. A company getaway, for a weekend or a summer holiday. Then came the revolution. But that's another matter. I'm here to make sure the Pines can fulfill their responsibilities to the place they built.
Donc, est-ce que vous pouvez me dire... Vous êtes intelligente et j'ai besoin qu'on me donne la dernière info sur cette réalité dans laquelle nous évaluons. C'est vrai qu'il faut que je demande, faut que je pose la question pour la réalité à un riche. C'était ma quête, regardez. C'est ouf. Pour enseigner sur la réalité, il faut demander à une personne fortunée. Vous pouvez me dire sur la grève.
Everything, right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
Et si je veux en savoir plus sur les secrets commerciaux, bah, elle va dire, ben, nique toi. Quel est votre rôle dans tout ça,
I
précisément?
believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
No way. She's more. She can make decisions.
Ah,
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took...
Wait. She just admitted that the lynching and the strike are connected.
eh oui.
Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Yes, I believe there is a connection, but that's a subject for later.
Comme ça pour plus tard.
What can I say? The union employs a giant covered in tattoos. A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organization now.
Comment se passaient les discussions au
Let's
lynchage?
say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first...
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
Vous êtes sur le terrain, quoi.
But the strike began in December.
Elle a mis 2 mois à arriver.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Oh, ben voilà, on leur paye les heures sup et en plus ils ont une couverture médicale et ils sont pas contents. Ah là, ces ouvriers. Ah merde, excusez-moi, je suis dans un roleplay communiste.
Ludicrous even.
Ouais! Toujours plus droit pour les travailleurs! Il lui est arrivé quoi à ce Gaumont?
Mr. Clare told him to, how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Cool, pas cool. Cool, pas cool. Oh, je vois.
Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
Quelles sont leurs revendications du coup maintenant?
There are leaflets everywhere and banners. What did they say again? Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Je sais pas comment c'est une posture communiste hyper agressive. Ça me plaît. Attends quoi? Qu'est-ce que je peux dire? Ça me plaît, ça fait un... attends, qu'est-ce qui me rend le plus communiste là? Ça me plaît? Ou une posture communiste hyper agressive?
Then you might also like their other slogan. Demand democracy.
C'est pas assez communiste endurci à mes yeux.
Personally, I agree. It lacks the pizzazzo of every worker a member of the board.
Et qu'est-ce qu'ils entendent d'exemple par là? Quelle est leur demande?
It's quite simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about what, about anything really, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal.
Ils savent pas qu'on peut élire des représentants pour éviter tout ça?
Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, They are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
Le roi, c'est le roi. Le roi est mort, longue vie pour travailler.
That may well be. It's not up to me to decide who is king, but as negotiations go, it's not a swell start.
Qu'allez-vous faire?
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again.
C'est d'ailleurs à quel point on devait juste... voilà, on était là pour résoudre le meurtre. On est en train de s'empêtrer dans la résolution. Alors, on n'essaie pas de résoudre, mais on est en train de s'empêtrer dans cette grève ouvrière.
And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the bowyer at the gates, the one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
This checks out.
Oh, l'a rencontré, lui. Les ruffians à la porte, c'est vous qui les avez envoyés.
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the union refuses to?
Don't let her answer it herself.
Ne la laisse pas répondre elle-même. Appelons-les des briseurs de grève. C'est vous qui les avez envoyés, déployés ici, non?
If these strikebreakers were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not yet, at least.
Elle nous cache quelque chose.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Ok. Parlez-moi du chef du syndicat, monsieur Claire. À un moment ou un autre, il va falloir le rencontrer, ce mec.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers
Oh, vraiment?
first. Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
If you were to prick him with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
Vous n'en parlez comme si vous étiez sur le point de le trouver avec une rapière. Et vrai, c'est un héros chez les travailleurs. Je le connais pas, donc... Genre, ça me paraît être une phrase pro-communiste, mais je le connais pas, donc je vais pas non plus dire des conneries.
Oh heavens no. We get along just fine. Yet now that you mention it, I can't stop imagining that black treacle just dribbling down his double chin.
Rien à dire.
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
Attendez, il y en a deux comme lui?
Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over.
Ouais, d'accord, ok.
It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
C'est Poutine, en fait. On va faire des élections. Il y aura que moi ou mon Premier ministre à élire. Ah bah, c'est moi. Ah bah, vous pouvez pas me réélire dans 5 ans. Ah, c'est dommage. Il y a mon Premier ministre que je mène à la baguette. Qu'en est-il du syndicat lui-même, en dehors des frères Claire?
The Daybarders Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act. But they did it. I can respect organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Debarders are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is...
Elle me prend en traite, là. Une mafia communiste.
Thank you for being candid. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the wolf always hungers.
Ah, c'est vrai, je suis obligé d'être honnête. Hein. J'ai beau être pro-communiste, ça reste une mafia communiste. Hein. Nous, on n'est pas communiste, on est marxiste. Et le peuple, pour le peuple. Et c'est pas en mettant des gros bras au-dessus, ça change pas grand-chose. Hein. Ça on revient au même. Hein. Pas parce qu'ils disent qu'ils travaillent pour le peuple, qu'ils sont pas comme tous ces bourgeois. Hein. Encore une chose, vous avez dit que quelque chose s'était passé lors des élections.
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the union.
Encore une femme, elle dit oh là là. Oh non, va falloir la chercher. Ah yes, une nouvelle tâche.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
This forewoman, her name?
Cette comprendre, ça a-t-elle un nom?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence, Holly. I don't even know if it's a sir or given name, and I don't have access to the union's files.
Parlons d'une sorte d'extorsion, bah oui.
Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Ouais, bah oui, sûr. Je vais te faire une offre que tu ne peux refuser.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Je sais tous déjà.
Of course. How else can I
Donc
help?
maintenant, vous pouvez me dire sur ce
Quite a
lynchage.
few things, I'm afraid.
Oh là là, le brassage. On n'aurait jamais dû en lui parler. Pas de choses, j'ai bien peur. Elle se teint pendant un moment, elle contemple quelque chose.
The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the
Tâche
sake of my
secrète terminée,
employers, I
oula.
have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Oh non, mais... Ah, je l'ai pas, mon badge. Non. Les informations que je vais partager avec vous contiennent des secrets commerciaux sensibles. Au nom de sécurité de mon plan, je vous demande votre nom et votre numéro de... Je n'ai ni l'un, ni l'autre.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will...
How curious. Why is that, Detective?
Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman was stolen by some artist, surely. Best to pin the blame on them. Everyone knows you can't trust artists.
Pourquoi devrais-je accuser un artiste? Pourquoi devrais-je accuser un artiste?
Everyone knows you can't trust artists. They're nearly as bad as clowns.
Mais ça a pris le clown me l'a volé. C'est une longue histoire. Non mais c'est une longue histoire, cherchez pas.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
C'est possible, prévenu de grande consommation d'alcool, j'ai perdu tout son nom dans ma vie du monde. Est-ce que je suis vraiment franc avec elle? Oui.
I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please. Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more.
Bien sûr,
until I
bien sûr,
speak-
pas de
She's
soucis.
a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Ça lance, c'est rouge, non. Comment puis-je m'en sortir par négociation? Est-ce qu'on tente quand même après 28%?
Feelings
Voilà.
will guide the way.
I assure you, it is no small matter for me either. We all share the responsibility for disarming this situation. I hope you have a badge for me as soon as possible.
Moi, je n'ai que ça à écarter les mains. C'est l'ensemble de mon
She's
existence.
silent. The wind flaps the sail above her.
Aïe, 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 non, non, bah faut...
Officer, you know, I don't mean to sound cold, but if you want something, you have to give some.
You're doing it. Despite your own best efforts, you're still getting in.
I'll be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want. The Union is conducting drug trade out of the harbour. It's an open secret in Martinez. Surely it must not come as a complete surprise to the RCM either.
Ça va falloir que j'aille
Perhaps it's
racheter...
time to look into it. Or you can find your badge, which honestly seems like.
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
C'est nous ensemble là. Dites-moi Kim.
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective. Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and you know, not volunteer us to be her henchmen.
Oh, alors on est des larbins.
This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
Ah bah voilà, on a... je sais pas, j'ai...
He doesn't let it show. But there is a limit to how much the consequences of your unprofessional behavior.
Aïe, aïe,
cost
aïe,
the
aïe, aïe.
investigation.
Pourrais se contenter de trouver mon insigne.
Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters.
The situation might have changed drastically by the time you locate it. Time.
You could request a new one from the station, but that would literally take months.
Je vais m'en occuper.
I'm sure you will, Detective. No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we are siding with the Union, or that we are on their take. We'd never hear. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done, and demand for her information on the lynching.
Ok. J'aurais dû dire on reviendra.
Good. What can I help you with? That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question.
Donc c'est quelque chose de
Better not tie the fourth day to the bat's day on this. I hope there is something else.
She wants to answer the question. Protocol keeps her from it.
Ah, elle a l'air intelligente. J'ai besoin qu'on me donne des informations sur la réalité dans laquelle nous
This
évoluons.
reality.
Yes, reality is your side case. An experimental side case.
J'ai mis une enquête personnelle sur le monde dans lequel je me trouve.
How truly curious. A sort of philosopher detective.
La théorie, c'est que mon enquête sur la nature de la réalité convergera ultimement vers notre enquête sur le meurtre. Ils ne font vraiment qu'un.
Are they now?
A deep synthesis. I'll assist you however I can then.
Hmm.
Go ahead. Ask.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
Où sommes-nous?
We're in Martinez,
Baby.
baby. A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. It's a disco holdover, pay it no heed.
Tu sais moi-même un surnom de disco.
Aren't we all?
She refers to your corresponding ages.
Je vois. C'est quoi Martinez?
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour. north of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year.
Quelle est cette mère? Vraiment un peu plus de Martinez.
I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. As I told you, Martinez used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its part. Now the reeds are the real star of the show here. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets.
Quelle est cette mère?
It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol. And the bay feeds into
Sommes-nous près de
the
l'océan?
ocean. Yes. We're on an island in an ocean, the world's largest body of water, the Insulindic.
Known to the early Revacholians as les immensités bleues.
L'immensité
Blue
bleue.
immensities.
C'est quoi le nom de cette île?
Caillou, as you
Caillou.
already know. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed-over pebble amidst a great blue sea, misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the river Esperance. We're in the delta of this river, on the 6th branch. The Martinez
It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her and to humanity at large.
Oh, carrément. Très bien, c'est quoi ce Martinez? Mais quoi?
I would be happy to.
Dans
What
quel
is
temps
a-
vivons-nous?
These are unimportant times, detective. You and I were born after
Ouh,
the
elle
dust
pose un doigt sur
settled.
les lèvres, sur mes lèvres.
Thousandth of a second too late.
C'est vrai que les choses se sont tassées un millième de seconde trop tard. Trop tard pourquoi?
For the big time.
C'est juste limite ces danses de voile théo. C'est quoi le big time?
The revolution.
Ah, et quelle est donc cette révolution dont je n'arrête pas d'entendre
It's
parler?
quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle.
Qui a reçu une balle dans la tête? Bah, c'est le roi, je crois, non?
Those would be the communists.
Ah merde.
Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head.
Ah oui, je suis vraiment le dernier des communistes, quoi.
Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well.
Ah bon, on s'en fout.
So well, one forgets they even existed.
Est-ce que les communistes et les anarchistes ont riposté?
Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people.
Oh là là, quel bazar. C'est une tragédie.
Yeah, it was a kerfuffle, all right.
Yes, the Insulindian deluge, they call it.
Moi aussi, j'ai eu un déluge dans la tête.
Yes, an acute thiamine deficiency can be exacerbated by alcoholism. Exacerbated means made worse.
Merci. Qu'y a-t-il eu d'autres personnes dans les camps adverses qui ont été exécutées d'une balle dans la
Oh,
tête?
lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse, or drowned. Accounts differ. It was unceremonious. Just as well, he wasn't actually the king. Just the king's nephew. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad.
C'était un roi intelligent. Quelle lopette ce roi. J'adorerais ce roi putain de communiste. Tu m'en bats les steaks des rois.
About head shooting,
Qui a obtenu les droits miniers? Quand s'est produit ce bazar?
the liberals got the mineral
Ah
rights.
bah bien sûr, bien sûr.
And by mineral rights, I mean everything.
Ah bah bien sûr, les libéraux, bien sûr, bien sûr, bien sûr.
Liberals are usually middle-class people, detective, or the remaining gentry, the beneficiaries of the pre-revolutionary. Some were rich enough to stay with the constitution, with monarchy. Big mistake. Others bet on the revolution. They were called the ultras, or ultra-liberals. They fared well. They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when the war ended. Everyone else got...
We. She's one of them. Of course.
Ah bah bien sûr. Et plus sur un endroit.
to foreign intervention, the coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights.
Oui, le papillon. Vous voulez dire que les libéraux avaient déjà tout pris.
The liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The coalition took the ground. The ocean, the laws, and the people. The coalition of nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje, and
Oranje. Sur la clé.
center of the world.
Oranje, sur la clé.
Ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do.
There is bitterness in her voice, tempered with understanding. She is critical, but ultimately
The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights and not shooting people in the head. At least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol now, the coalition government.
Vous savez que je suis le dernier communiste en vie?
This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist.
Oui. Oui, ouais.
the color of moralism.
Façon de
is
parler, quoi.
blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of grey sky. Unofficial. For a moment, there was hope.
For a moment there was hope. Il s'agit de choisir l'option sans engagement alors. Et je ne le suis pas. Je le suis, et je ne le suis pas non plus.
An almost endearingly moralist standpoint. It must be hard to take a moderate approach to head shooting in your line of work.
C'est produit tout ce bazar.
The turn of the century revolution? Don't answer it. It's a trick question. The revolution began in 02 on the Isla of Grad, though by the end nearly the whole world had gotten involved.
Ça fait 50 ans quoi.
It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities in Grad proved
Ah, ça me
unable
rappelle
to
quelque chose.
contain. Then Mazov came along and overthrew the government.
C'était les symptômes de César.
It made people overthrow their governments.
Ah, d'accord. Ok. Oh, vraiment? Impossible.
Indeed, Zarat is a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. The actual causes of the revolution were material. The
It was a funny time in history. They discovered transistors and rock music, but they didn't know anything about prions.
From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Mazov's government was overthrown in 08, and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. Why? You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control.
Vous pouvez me parler de la zone de contrôle. Qu'est-ce que c'est exactement? Qu'est-ce que c'est exactement?
A city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting interregnum of the coalition of nations. And you, of course, the zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol, after the failure of the suzerain and the commune.
Qu'est-il arrivé le reste du monde?
Modernity. They developed the marvels of the inter-eastlery communication, telematic milieus, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, in Revachol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
C'est comme ça depuis 43 ans.
Time flies.
Et qu'est-ce qu'on fait depuis tout ce temps?
The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. 08 to 19 was simply hell.
Et après
The
ça?
30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere.
C'est à ce moment-là qu'ils ont découvert le disco.
Yes, and quantitative easing. It was a market mirage, unfortunately. The 40s dispelled it. An Isla-wide hangover, you might say. So, here we are.
Oh là, le lore quoi.
Welcome to reality.
Ah,
For her to be where she is, Wild Pine's group must have picked the right side.
quel camp a choisi le groupe Wild Pine? Bah, les libéraux.
They picked the winning side. That's why they're here, and others are not. Perhaps it wouldn't have turned out that way had I been in charge. I might have bet on the king and let the... I would have sided with the cannons. If you'd seen the calibers of the things, you might have too. Perhaps it's 10 of the 14 Indo tribes got it wrong. Feld, Kupri, Tricentennial. So I suppose I would have been in good company.
Qu'est-ce que vous avez fait différent?
Good question. What would you have done differently?
C'est moi qui ai buzzé en premier. Recherche une solution médicale. On dirait que celui-là a réduit les gens. J'aurais tué bien plus de personnes. 400 millions, ça avait été nécessaire. Je vais adopter une position bien précise. Je m'en serais sorti avec les droits miniers. J'ai choisi une solution médicale.
So a quarter of humanity simply lost their minds. And how would you stop a prion? A complex folding protein, unlife, with a technology 50 years ago.
Grâce à l'hygiène, à une protection sociale modeste et peut-être grâce à un petit programme de recherche. J'aurais liquidé ces chiens enragés infestés par le prion qui voulait tuer tout le monde avec un feu d'artillerie purificateur. Avec une assurance maladie privatisée et une éthique professionnelle qui ne transforme pas les cerveaux en tissus spongieux.
Good hygiene. Really. A very moderate solution to an extreme problem. It's those sort of... When they failed to step up, Marzov and his party stepped in. In this particular...
Opinions expressed here do not reflect the official position of the RC.
And what is your official position?
My position, ma'am? My parents got ripped to shreds in the revolution. I would have gone the same way. I was saved by being 2 years old. That's my position.
Understandable.
On va se parler.
They are what they are. Anyway, enough sentimentality.
Not so fast. Who is she in all this? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer.
Je veux savoir ce que vous êtes. Qu'êtes-vous?
I am the vilest of the vile. A traitor. A devourer of nations and infants. I am an ultra.
Ah.
She raises the corner of her mouth, smirking, revealing a canine.
Dios míos, une libéral. Fait un signe de croix. Cool, je suis du genre libéral moi aussi.
Yes. I am the nether creature of the forbidden swamp. I pushed the king under a shit wagon and betrayed the revolution. My kind surrendered the nation to financial colonists. I can see you thought we'd gone extinct. After all, no sane person identifies as an ultra-liberal anymore. Not in broad daylight. You're a centrist at heart. A real moralist, no? Tell me, now that...
In her green eyes, you see a mixture of truth and self-satire. Decades of guilt and pride.
Je vous pardonne, mais c'est long parce que vous êtes charmante.
A devil, who being of great charm and guile, sneaketh into the homes of the godly.
Vil demoni. Diables.
I'm afraid you'll find that every woman is a devil woman detective. There are only aesthetic. When the dust settled, the liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future. This was all our last generation managed.
Vous auriez personnellement fait les choses autrement?
With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker government that keeps Martinez a monument to the efficacy of its artillery.
Ça devient très politique.
I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the coalition. Not here in Martinez, and not in the Stella Maris or Delta Beachheads either.
She realizes her small, cold fists are clenched. She loosens them.
Then for my daughters, we had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isla down rather than let them have it.
Vous êtes patriote?
Yes, I suppose I am. but I wouldn't be a patriot anywhere but here.
Seditious talk, man.
C'est une femme intelligente.
Perhaps. My intellectual vanity.
You're no dummy yourself.
Non. Non. Ou la vanité intellectuelle marquera ma défaite. Non. La vanité intellectuelle marquera ma défaite.
And the crown on your head as you lay in the casket.
Ouh. Il a de l'air réparti le petit. Gagner un point. En quoi on va améliorer nos trucs? C'est pas mal là. Ça développer la réactivité vous confère des réflexes surhumains. Mais quand le corps d'avance l'esprit, une situation ordinaire peut vite dégénérer. C'est le prix à payer lorsqu'il est constamment sur le qui-vive. Perception. Aucun état physique ne vous échappe. Dans le cas où mieux vous avoir l'esprit bien accroché pour ne pas se laisser submerger. Mise en scène. Remonter la mise en scène, tiens. Il y a des filles.
Yes. Whatever else I am, I'm also a mother and a wife. Now, shall we return to reality?
Esprit de corps, légendaire 4, c'est quoi? Pensez à quelque chose qui vous tient à cœur. Esprit de corps ou conceptualisation? Ça lance c'est blanc.
It remains a mystery what you mean by this something close. This isn't about you. It's a strange coldness comes over you.
C'est quoi ça?
A bird? A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions?
Continuez à chercher.
Some sort of krill hunter? No, wait. You're an ancient ruin. A symbol of hubris and decay. Half submerged in some salty sea.
Je suis ruiné. Je suis ruiné. Que quoi?
Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games.
Et vers quel est cet endroit ici?
Ah. This is the pier of Rue de Saint-Ghislaine, 33A, where the tenants or two.
Qu'a-t-il eu au 33A rue de Saint-Ghislaine?
A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. And new buildings, bâtiments. After les bâtiments nouveaux.
Les bâtiments
33A
nouveaux.
and 33B. This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of the last century. Built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the cannons locked 4 or 5 splat.
Depuis un balcon délabré, une jeune fille étrangement vêtue regarde Joyce de travers son pinceau rouge à hauteur de gorge. Cindy la caboucharde.
You could be wrong, but from here it appears as if she's running the brush across her throat in a soaring motion.
Oh là là, elle est pas bien vue.
Wonderful.
Joyce n'est pas très bien vue. Qu'est-ce que c'est pointer le doigt vers Cindy la caboucharde?
The girl in the old lady rags.
Oui.
Looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture. Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant, those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture.
Bon, attends, expliquons la même chose, mais à un enfant. Alors, vous redites tout ce que vous venez de dire, mais imaginez, hein, Vous parlez à un enfant de 4 ans. Qu'est-ce que ça donnerait? Je comprends tout, ça implique des choses.
I can't. That's how simple it is. One may dye their hair green and wear their grandma's coat all they want. Capital has the ability to subsume all critiques into itself. Even those who would critique capital end up reinforcing it instead.
Ouais, mais c'est peut-être en tentant d'échapper à cette à la société, quoi, qu'elle réussira peut-être à la percer. Il faut des marginaux dans la vie.
All right. What next?
Suddenly, you're not so sure you're part of the supraculture.
Je crois que je fais peut-être partie d'une infraculture.
And what would that be?
L'infraculture des flics, l'infraculture disco.
I can see that, yes. I dabbled in those dark arts myself, not so long ago. I assure you, it was a thoroughly supracultural phenomenon. All permeating. Downright mandatory. Nothing infra about disco, baby.
Vous êtes disco, bah oui, elle l'a dit.
Those days are long behind me. And even in the early 30s, I would say I was more of a new girl. Disco was a minor, but still enjoyable. The new. A cultural era. And the name of the decade it ravished, the 30s. It came out of post-revolutionary Revachol. It was ultra-liberal. It involved lots of partying, as you might imagine, and champagne-colored everything. By the looks of it, that would have been when you came of age. Now.
Je me suis l'impression de... Je sais pas, c'est pas trop mon truc. Je suis quelqu'un de vertueux. Sympa, je me souviens absolument de rien.
Wasn't it Guillaume Le Million who said,
Oh, Guillaume Le
if
Million.
you can remember the new, you weren't there.
Attendez, Guillaume Le Million? Pensez justement ce type. Lui est-il arrivé?
Ah, yes. This is not very central to reality, is it?
C'est quand même curieux de le savoir.
I can't be 100% sure, but I believe he died due to complications from venereal disease.
Laquelle? Vous êtes sûr qu'il n'est pas mort d'asphyxie érotique?
You can't get a venereal disease from that, can you?
Carcassonne n'a pas disparu dans dans un nuage de poussière d'étoiles.
All of them. I'm afraid no. But then again, one can't be entirely sure. It's all part of his anyway. What other basic facets of
C'est tout pour le moment du coup.
glad to have been of assistance. The little that I
Bien,
know.
apparemment, ce prétendu trafic de drogue.
Anything else? It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samar and Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild pipe,
Ingredients for what, man?
meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL and various synthetic psychedelics.
Mhm.
Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff.
S'enchaîne de Samara à Revachol via le terminal.
Yes. After they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter. North.
Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, man. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean?
We're in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut.
Tu comprends bien, les ingrédients sont acheminés de Samara à Revachol via le terminal.
Yes. After they clear the...
Ouais.
Wild Pines.
We're in logistics. It's our business, yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the Dockworkers Union. Still.
The handoff. The motor lorries at the roundabout.
Les camions?
Precisely. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbour into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network.
Ah, on a un
of
ami
local
dans les
manufacturers well
camionneurs.
beyond our... Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the driver.
Her irises are light green, like the river Esperance.
I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
Pourquoi n'êtes pas venu voir la MCR plutôt?
We did, on more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement.
We know the company has launched its own probe into the union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence.
Well, here's your chance, officers.
Donc, pas une conscience que les camions soient échoués à cet endroit, hein?
No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However, this is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the trade committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge. Thousands of litres of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the east across the river, but the west.
Well, at least this so.
What is that?
Why I had to call East Motor Track and beg them to open the drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in on my motor carriage.
Ah, j'ai encore monté un niveau? Attends. Suggestion. On peut aller augmenter un peu la suggestion peut-être. Mais j'ai combien de niveaux possibles là? Suggestion. Peut-être de 2. On peut monter de 3 un truc. Ah oui, j'ai 3 points de talent. Je vais augmenter ma logique aussi, je pense.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand. How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves.
Pensez donc que la rêve est financée avec le trafic d'ingrédients de base pour fabriquer des drogues.
Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you.
Je me souviens déjà qu'un des chauffeurs était présent lors du lynchage.
The two might.
Or not. Though, if you have evidence to the contrary, I'm...
As eager as I am to share it, Lieutenant, once the job is done.
Tiens, j'ai pris ma décision concernant l'enquête sur la contrebande.
Yes?
Sondez les chauffeurs, on va voir que ça mène.
Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may. Of course,
Après, on peut toujours, comme disait Kim, on peut toujours enquêter nous de notre côté, mais à ne rien lui révéler.
Yes?
Annette. Ah oui, j'ai gagné en suggestion. On peut aller retenter. J'ai des vêtements pour la suggestion. Bon ans.
The streets will flow red once more. A great torrent rushing down Rue de Esperance. You wait and see.
The streets will not flow red with anything. Who are you?
Qui êtes-vous? Bon, c'est Kim qui prend la parole, putain.
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to
La
know?
cabocharde.
Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C.
Juste connaître ton nom, jeune fille. Pas besoin d'être sur la défensive. Duc donc, baisse d'un ton. La loi, c'est moi. Faut commencer par ton groupe 5 ans, on verra où ça nous mène. Ouais, c'était quand ton dernier test de l'hépatite C?
Sod off, pigman. Art is above the law.
Tu vas pas regarder sur le côté, qu'est-ce que tu regardes?
The lieutenant is desperately searching for another handkerchief. Hatred, disgust. It's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girl. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
That is on her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Dozun? Les chanteurs? Noma no Maye. Tu veux parler de
On a
Joyce?
first name basis with her, are we? Piggy's moving up in the world.
Pourquoi autant de négativité?
Have you got a crush on her? Aching for an opportunity to defend her honor.
Qu'est-ce que tu veux que c'est mieux?
Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an aereo graffitio visible from. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words.
Donc tu sais pas quoi écrire.
Have you ever tried your hand at graffitio? When faced with a blank wall, most people write unimaginative stuff, like pigs go home. We rarely see pigs round here, though. Just union.
She wants it to be something true and total.
Pourquoi tu étais aussi déterminé de terrasser cet immeuble?
This place is severely lacking in havoc. Not even the occasional trash can. I thought I'd mix it up, you know, summon the forces of crime and social chaos with a wall-sized invitation.
J'ai une petite idée à celui, ça t'intéresse?
Yeah?
Genre l'art de rue, passe ton chemin et occupe-toi de tes oignons. Tu vas voir t'arrêter sur du hooliganisme. Hooligan!
Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration.
She means the opposite. You've lessened her desire to deface the building.
Tu as réduit son envie de défigurer le bâtiment. Allez. Tu sais quelque chose sur la
I ain't no
représentation?
snitch, pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a normal, calm, informative manner.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko. Watch your back.
Ok, petite. Ah, et là, je pouvais pas voir.
Just an ordinary wall.
Conceptualisons.
See here.
Conceptualisation.
Just an ordinary wall.
À
Nothing
17.
to see here. Yeah. Why?
Why must we stop to...
Ouais, venez, lieutenant. On va aller à Fried vite fait, on va aller acheter de quoi me heal mon moral au cas où. Ah, il y a lui, le gros connard. Le gros connard raciste, qui peut être dans le coup.
The tear machine stands in your bottles clunk. A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all
Okay,
Yep.
here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something.
On va
Okay,
prendre deux au cas.
here.
Je prends pas à 3 parce que c'est pas très utile vu que j'ai qu'un point de mental quoi. Alors, monsieur le raciste connard.
Looking for something?
C'est quand même l'air pas vrai. Qu'est-ce que vous pensez des drogues?
Drugs?
Direct, c'est
Man.
direct.
I don't let anything pollute my body.
Tire une longue bouffée sur sa cigarette. Vous sentez l'alcool et les clubs, c'est pas si différent des stupéfiants.
You know where that shit comes from? Sarah Miriza, Safre, Ilmara. They take the money from our local junkies here and then use it to outcompete us in the manufacturing sector.
Donc c'est la première fois que j'entends de ma vie qu'un mec ne prend pas de drogue parce qu'il est raciste quand même.
They know they can't beat us in a fair fight, so they have to get us to weaken ourselves somehow. It's racial sabotage, racial economic sabotage.
Waouh! La première fois que j'entends que la drogue c'est une bonne manière, c'est d'utiliser la drogue comme une manière raciste quoi. Bon, je comprends plus pourquoi vous n'êtes pas en train d'apporter de la drogue de Martinez. On est sur la même longueur, il faut empêcher ce poison de se répandre dans les rues de Revachol.
He eyes you wearily, unsure how to respond.
I don't know shit, and if I did, I wouldn't tell you.
Bah du coup, qu'est-ce que vous fabriquez ici? Les plupart des charretiers sont
What
partis.
do you think? I can't leave the lorry unguarded. Stuff's been getting looted lately. It's those little kips sneaking around at night. If they touch my stuff, the bosses will be on my ass like ass cancer.
Nice ice cancer!
There was a bunch of spilled boxes in the back of a big lorry nearby.
J'ai vu un camion avec la portière ouverte, vous savez ce qui s'est passé?
Yeah, I knew that guy. He was an honest driver who loved this country. We were having a good debate about genetics at the Wheeling in Rags when some kip boys smashed his lock and took damn near everything. Lost his fucking job over it. Since he left, I haven't had anyone to talk to.
Oh.
If they were getting drunk inside the whirling in rags, how could they know who broke into the lorry?
Eh oui. C'est William, comment est-ce que vous pouvez savoir que c'est les Kips qui ont fait le coup?
What? Aren't we allowed to say that it's the kips who do all the stealing around here? That's not road to silence, man.
Ah oui, d'accord, ok. On a compris que l'équipe était une belle représentation de ce qu'on appellerait chez nous le A-World. C'est pas appliqué alors qui fait passer des stupéfiants par le terminal B, genre le direct quoi.
Isn't it obvious? Fucking Sealang, that beady-eyed South Samaran. His little side business is a scam. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a Samaran guy who likes to pretend he's some kind of businessman. Really, he's just selling his employer's. Just follow the smell. It smells like apricot and oil when you're near.
Yes, yes.
Looks like I offended your partner there. Too bad. Sealang's usually a little bit south of here, near the canal. You can't miss him. Just his tribe are natural liars. It's in their blood. He's your man, all right?
I wouldn't be so sure about it. Not until we've heard what Sealang.
Guess so.
Ok, ok. Qu'on aille voir le... T'as vu 6 millions?
Still here, stuck in this damn jam, my man. What's up?
Empathie, mais je crois que j'en perds de l'empathie là, non? C'est pas un truc qui me fait perdre de l'empathie? Ah non. Non, ça m'en fait gagner.
Still here, stuck in this damn jam.
In his eyes,
Allez!
an unfamiliar longing. Flecks of brown and gold. It's hard to say. His gaze wanders southwest, down the street that goes beyond the horizon.
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a au sud-ouest?
Excuse me?
Il est tiré de sa torpeur.
A flinch jolts his frame. The
Ta question?
question has touched a nerve.
Ce flic, rien ne me résiste. Je ressens une sorte de nostalgie qui m'accompagne depuis que je me suis réveillé.
Man, I don't know what to say. Not much anyone can do. I miss my family. They're all I have. My wife, second kid on the way. Waiting all the way in Diora. And here I am stuck in this shit, so far from home.
T'es au rang?
Diora of the Seven Seas. It's on the other end of Le Caillou, pretty much, on another island called Laurentide, off mainland. We've got a little place there. Can almost hear my kid laugh when it snows.
Quand quelqu'un vous manque, ça fait quel effet?
What's it like? Good. And bad. An ache that brings you joy. I think of them a lot. I dream up these silly scenarios in great detail of living with them. It comforts me. What about you, cop man? You missing someone?
Ma femme, mais apparemment, j'ai l'air d'être la raison pour laquelle elle est partie.
No, it's scarier than that. You're pursued by a hunter, smelling of apricots and sorrow, and the past.
J'arrive. Mon flingue me manque, je l'ai paumé. Quelqu'un me manque, mais je sais pas qui. J'ai l'impression d'être hanté.
I feel for you, my friend. It's bad enough to know who you miss, but thanks for this. It's nice to talk to someone, and I know it wasn't easy to ask.
Tu veux pas une pièce pour un autre travailleur?
Huh? Oh. No, I ain't got any money. The bosses, man.
C'est sacrément avantageux pour eux.
Yeah, it sure ain't good for me. Or you. I'd spare a coin or two for a city cop down in his luck. If I had, say, 4 myself.
J'ai l'air de le connaître en matière de stupéfiants.
Ah, man. Me and narcotics go way back.
Croise les mains derrière la tête et se penche en bas.
Psychic waves of my own consciousness, you know? But those days are behind me. There are other addictions in my life now.
Est-ce que vous financez ces lubies en vendant de la drogue? J'ai tellement envie de me défoncer, j'ai besoin d'un dealer. Je vois les droits au but, j'essaie de découvrir qui a fait passer les stupes par le terminal B.
We have a credible lead, sir. Someone on this roundabout is waiting for a bulk shipment.
Moi, je lui fais confiance, moi je pense pas que ça lui le dealer.
And drive it to Jamrock.
Trop sympa. Il est trop sympa, on est un peu liés d'amitié quoi.
Not me, man. No way. I don't need any trouble. Shit's bad enough anyway. This jam's got folks up in arms, and I'm afraid it's headed toward a conflagration.
Pourquoi vous êtes toujours là? Parce que bah il a pas envie d'abandonner pour le boulot quoi. Il l'a dit je crois, quand on lui a demandé.
Look man, I try to stay away from the criminal underbelly of Revachol. I'm a guest here.
We wouldn't say he's lying, sire.
Je ne dirais point qu'il ment, messieurs. Oh mais il y a un autre camionneur? Mais il est où? Là, il y a elle, mais elle est ailleurs.
The woman still has her eyes fixed.
If you want her attention, you may need to be more forceful.
2 fois.
Where am I? Who are you?
Navigatrice de l'intangible. Vous l'avez rappelé à la réalité comme un magicien versé dans l'art de
The
l'hypnose.
smile on her face has disappeared, replaced by the weary aspect of a cornered beast.
Never mind. I remember now. I'm still stuck in that traffic jam in the 50s.
Je sais pas savoir pourquoi les années 50 vous débectent autant. Où est-ce que vous aimeriez être?
Back in Methka, during the time of the revolution. The sidewalks and cafes are filled with young people. I was on my way to see a new Boyadeiro picture starring Gabriel Buongerro.
Vous êtes les Italiens, vous en fait.
Until you came along, that is.
Qui Gabriel Buongerro?
This is Gabriel Buongerro.
Il y a une photographie dans un cadre en ombre somptueux.
A strikingly handsome man looks straight at you, his head crowned with a wide brim hat. His hair is dark.
He was the biggest star of his day. Girls used to faint in the aisles of cinema whenever he came on the screen. And schoolboys.
In all likelihood, it's a world that's only ever existed in her mind.
Ce monde existe que dans sa tête.
Someone was.
C'est pas vos souvenirs, mais ceux de quelqu'un d'autre.
They are someone's memories, boy. What difference does it make if it's me or they're beautiful? That is all that matters. Beautiful and true. And they will win.
All of what? The world. She seems to derive some bitter pleasure from this strange thought, as if the past will one day wipe the present away, like a tidal wave approaching.
Bien, j'ai deux questions à vous poser dans le cadre d'une enquête policière.
Why not, Harife? It's not like I have anything better to do in this hellhole.
Ok. Elle pose du coup sur la portière derrière. Le tableau de bord est saturé de souvenirs, de photographies, de babioles en tout genre. Qu'est-ce que vous transportez?
Diamonds.
Des diamants, vraiment?
Of course not. But wouldn't it be marvelous if whatever stupid things they put in the lorry, I imagine?
Si je comprends bien, vous ignorez ce que vous transportez dans votre camion.
I quit concerning myself with that a long time ago. Besides, I don't drive the lorry for the cargo, if you know what I mean.
Ça se trouve, c'est de la contrebande.
Then it's contraband, lawman. What? Do you want to take an old woman in? Be my guest. Lock me away.
Bad hand. Hermenegildos's bad hand. Strangled 300 people. What can I say? Some people just really like strangling people.
J'ai encore du mal à comprendre cette histoire de Boy Deros et de Gabriel
Of course
Blanco.
not. To truly understand the boyadero, you need to listen to on the Western Plain.
The boyadero, boya for short,
boyadero,
is a cowherder from upstream Magritte, the great steppes of northern Mesk. He is a rugged individualist and explorer.
C'est quoi ça?
It's an old ballad about a young girl who falls in love with a daring boyadero. He promises to marry her as soon as he returns from the Western Plain.
J'imagine que cette belle histoire tourne en eau de boudin.
Of course not. The boyadero returns from the Western Plain a changed man. One night, as he and his beloved are out walking along the river.
In the background, you can hear the orchestra swell as the screen fills with the maiden's imploring eyes.
Du coup, il essaie de tout plaquer pour fonder une famille, c'est ça? Non. Poursuit sa vie.
So the boyadero strangles his beloved and throws her body in the Magritte. Then he rises up,
Bien sûr.
because the Western Plain is calling to him.
Dire c'est une magnifique balade, en hochant la tête d'un air solennel.
The most beautiful. A true boyadero needs a whole horizon to himself. He can be tied down by man or woman. His beloved was selfish. She didn't know what it meant to love a boyadero.
À mon avis, vous allez lire ailleurs.
She's just a distracted old woman. We should...
So he doesn't think she's a smuggler.
You hear that, Lowman? I don't think your partner likes you spending too much time with me.
Je me pose sérieusement.
Nothing. I just don't think she's
He doesn't want your frail mind caught up in something here. Something unconnected to the case. But connected to this woman tuning out like that.
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm one of the best camioners around. I drive routes no one else will. The Monosov's Land, Udashnaya Zemlia, the Western Plain.
Vous pouvez me la redire? Vous pouvez me la redire celle-là? Udashnia Zimlia. Quoi? Ça fait très est. Acheter puis ferme à nouveau les yeux, laissant son esprit se
The
divaguer.
Transcatolia Magistral. You for 1A. Adestradas du Mirador. All the good ones.
Oh, les plus espagnols, ok. Plus Amérique du Sud.
Bluebirds fly.
Je m'y connais pas mal en matière de perte de connaissances. Il ferait mieux de faire attention à vous. Il faudrait mieux transmettre cette information aux autorités compétentes. Chouette, bientôt tu seras plus que poussière, ma sœur.
right, Lowman. I'm the one who should take my health more seriously.
Correct appraisal.
Is that all you woke me up to say?
L'air d'en connaître un rien en matière de stupéfiants.
What do I need drugs for, Lowman? What I see, what I feel. The great adversary. No drugs can compare.
Adversary?
Yes. There is a protagonista and an adversario. I am on the side of the adversary. There's no coming back from that hole.
Those epithets are familiar somehow. The great adversary. The great unrest.
Comment je fais pour m'en procurer moi aussi?
If you don't know,
Maybe if she thought you're corrupt.
Je voulais vous demander si ça vous dirait de transporter des stupéfiants.
why would I want to do that?
Au nom du libre commerce, le fondement des États, pour la gloire de la République mondiale, au nom de la libération de l'esprit du corps.
Lowman, what in the name of God are you talking about?
Je vous pose la question autrement.
Maybe. Probably not. Makes no difference to me either way.
Vous savez pas ce que vous transportiez de la drogue, peut-être?
Just this month, I made half a dozen trips from Saramiriza to Grad, on the U41A. What do you think they take from Saramiriza to Grad?
J'en sais rien, c'est pour ça que je vous demande.
It's diamonds, Lowman, obviously.
Lorsque vous me parlez de ça, je m'enfuis des diamants. Votre avis qui pourrait être mêlé à un trafic de drogue dans les parages?
Diamonds are good for you, Lowman. You should try them sometime. Make yourself pretty like Eva de Zoras. Easy. It's the skinny man who thinks he's a poet. Never trust a poet. Also, he's the only one I can see from here.
That's correct. There is no visibility of any of the others.
Qu'est-ce que vous attendez
Where do
ici?
you want me to go? This isn't so bad. I can listen to music, or the seagulls. Look at all the colors and the features of this world. It's a good palate cleanser, this jamboree. Or I can just relax and let my mind carry me back where it will.
I think we're done here, no?
Yes, go. Enough jamboree.
Mhm.
A Stars Ryko, one of the finest Zhimsk-made motor carriages ever. An oldie, but a goldie. Not many people outside of Grad, and Revachol West too, it appears.
Et qui révélez-moi ça un peu.
Estache Raiko KK2. That's a classic model. Never thought I'd see another one repainted after what happened last time.
Je peux peut-être essayer de l'impressionner. Est-ce que je sais ce qui s'est passé la dernière fois?
No, only that the motor carriage is typically baby blue, the colors of Sigismund the Great, an ancient Zhimsk ruler. His banners were famously zephyr and white, the colors of the Stars Ryko.
Et paf, on s'est retrouvé avec un meurtre sur les bras.
That's, well, yes, exactly it.
Ah, je suis trop fort. J'ai un
Except
bon
it
flou.
was a crowd of them. Tore him out of the vehicle and ran him over with his own tires.
Ah ouais.
They said it was an honor killing, Hussar style. The James community protested the trial, flying the colors. 5,000 came to protest.
Correction, 4,395, the fourth largest public protest of a criminal trial in Revachol.
Il y avait 5000 personnes. D'après la police. D'après les manifestants et d'après la police, et moi, il y avait seulement 4300 personnes. Ouais, pour 400 vaches près, c'est bon quoi. À quoi les assassins ont-ils été condamnés?
4 years for murder in Reunion.
4 ans pour
The
meurtre.
perps were remorseful. Their sorry knocked 8 years off the sentence. That's the system.
The prisons in the greater Revachol Industrial Harbour are already full. Prisoners are expensive to maintain. The longer the sentence,
Que comme disait Zimsk.
People we are paid to protect. Let's leave it at that.
D'accord.
Yes, detective?
Tu crois que l'automotrice est beaucoup plus jolie en marron et noir?
Okay. I'm not going to honor kill anyone over this. but I've seen it blue and white. It's much better that way.
Ok.
Yes? What do you want to know? Good. What about me? No.
Your brain sends the signal to your lips.
Je vais voir si on pouvait. Il y avait un lancé.
So it's like you're locked down. The lieutenant relaxes his eyebrow, and you see.
Good.
Dun, 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 dun. Ok, donc on a vu les 3 pilotes. Les 3 sont en train... Il y a... En vrai, lui, il a l'air de pas mentir, mais c'est le plus... Non?
Snow covers the white on blue police livery of the motor carriage. The white colors nearly meld together. Do something important? Something murder related? There's always something important. Doesn't mean you can't take a moment to admire this piece of machinery. This is a Caprice Kanema.
Oui, non, mais...
Motor Corps follow-up to their
Ah, j'avais raté ce point au tout début du jeu, quoi.
Caprice 40, and that with its air-cooled, rear-mounted 12-cylinder compression ignition engine driving the rear wheels through a 4-speed manual gearbox, the Kanema is able to reach 100 kilometers per hour in 13.5 seconds and go on to a top speed. The high center of balance is offset by a large battery bank mounted at the bottom of the cabin, feeding all the auxiliary systems and making the Kanema effectively a mobile...
Discussion technique fait du bien à l'ego.
Due to a quite steep price tag, it is very unusual to see one in police livery.
Vraiment cool. J'aime pas votre machine, lieutenant, elle a pas l'air pratique.
You want to take a closer look?
Elle embarque quoi là-dedans? Indique le moteur. Une bien belle machine.
Yes. An extraordinary machine.
It's nice and all, but why so modest? Put some zing into it. Flare it up. Slam it down. Helium headlights would improve the range and quality of the visual field a lot.
Ouais, c'est du tuning, Kim, pour la rendre plus speed. Vous avez pensé à changer pour de la phare à l'hélium?
Sorry, I'm not...
Lingo it up.
Rabaisser le châssis de 200 mm, refroidir à fond le carrossage.
No, that's porno tuning.
Attendez, les ingénieurs là.
Those spinners were elegant, sleek, radiant even. What you're suggesting is porno. Porno. That's short for pornography.
The sole purpose of pornography is to stimulate one's visual sense to evoke sexual arousal. The same is true with the modifications you're proposing.
Pornographie, c'est totalement différent de crime. Et donc, qu'est-ce qu'il y a de mal avec la pornographie?
That's a negative on the porno. Thank you, though. Yes.
It's nice and all. Helium headlights.
Actually, I have a pair at home. Just haven't gotten around to fitting them yet. I need to lay some wiring for the ballast first.
Donc, on pourrait faire ça ensemble.
Maybe. Yes, definitely.
And means no.
Il y a un bar quoi là-dedans?
130.
I reckon that's a 7-liter V12 there. Man, that's got to be a major advancement over the KR-18GU engine on the old Caprice 40.
Yeah, you know it?
Le lieutenant a l'air surpris. Je connais juste les fondamentaux. Bloc moteur en fonte, injection à la chambre de turbulence, double chaîne entraînant les arbres avec cam aérien, 2 soupapes par cylindre, réglage hydraulique du débattement des soupapes.
Yes, that's right. I'm very impressed that you know these things.
Ouais, je sais. Ouais, je sais. J'impressionne beaucoup de gens. Moi-même, je m'impressionne de savoir tout ça. Bon. Une sauvegarde. Allons voir le syndicat. C'est un bol, il est rempli de crachats et rempli de tabac. Des photos d'hommes en salopette et des armes et des fiches du syndicat. Sûr qu'on peut voir le cadavre depuis là. Des personnes des buissons dépeignés à l'extérieur.
Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling-height window. The hawthorn branches scrape the glass like bony fingers.
Regardez par la fenêtre. Ce n'est pas encore le moment.
There's a little slide panel up there to let some air in. No need to open it in spring. It's still too cold outside.
C'est un lancer blanc, tonton, quand même, on sait jamais. Ah, mais non, mais putain!
Nothing. Just black tangles like the hair of an old woman. Motionless.
Je fais un échec critique, quoi. C'est quoi cette petite blague? Voilà. Tueur dit. Il manque caché morceau. Un homme à la carrière reposant dans une usine avec sa canette de bière.
Detective.
Le lieutenant vous adresse un signe de tête entendu. Il vous laisse gérer. Il n'y a rien à dire pour le moment. Il faut d'abord qu'on parle de votre comportement. Il faut qu'on parle de l'homme qui n'a pas été pendu.
Hey, dipshit. You hard of hearing or something? The boss man's talking to you.
Do not let their squeals disturb your serenity. These are but simple peasants.
C'est donc des peasants. Il prend des airs princiers. Faut qu'on...
What, is he fucking kidding? This guy high or something?
Hey, asshole, up here. We're talking to you.
We're looking for Titus Hardy.
D'abord qu'on parle de votre comportement. Faut qu'on parle de l'homme qui a été pendu.
Oh, this is about him. A real looker, that won't.
You're sure taking your time, waiting for him to get ripe and pretty for you, huh?
Oh, he was a real pretty boy by now. Real hot stuff. Letting out that pretty boy smell.
Time to go to work in the shit factory!
Oh là là, Chunky.
Easy, boys.
J'adore sa voix.
Janitors have a hell of a job cut out for them. I mean, I wouldn't go in there for $1 million.
Il se tape le front.
You might want to start asking your questions now. It's not going to get better than
Elisabeth. Comment te le dire gentiment? Tais-toi. Tais-toi. Voilà.
Do a head count first. Connect these men to the tracks you saw in the yard. Chances are they're going to match.
Écoutez la pièce.
Starting from the right. Boot size 44. Blonde man in his 30s. Sitting on his right. Standard working boots. Size 45 or 46. Eldest in the room. Probably mid-50s. Smoker.
Ça correspond aussi.
Across at the other table. Hobnailed working boots. Size 43. Gang tattoos. Mesk or Sarah Maritzian in his late. He spent his youth in Villa Labos, a housing project in the Jamrock Quarter. There were incarcerations. Hard to say what else. And then, standard working boot. Steel reinforced toes. Size 46. The big dick. Why? The emblem on his vest says Rowing Club. A little patch below it reads T. Hardy, Captain.
Il fait donc de l'aviron.
In the far corner, standard working boot. Steel reinforced toes. Size 44. 40-something.
Un Mediator.
On his neck. Forget it. It's not important. Let's call this one the musician. Size 41. With the light step. Not a child, after all. An older man with a rat face. Mean. In the middle. Heaving and wheezing. Big guy. Boot size 46. Deep marks. Probably carried the victim over. He alone is 130 kilos. Add the man in armor, and you could easily
on a retrouvé notre gang.
220. In conclusion, these 7 are the actors on the crime scene. The footprints were theirs, but theirs.
La drôle de semelle. Oui, il manque la drôle de semelle.
Exactly. You've stood there for about 4 seconds, not saying anything. Hit them with questions. Where's the 8th?
The fuck is with you, fella?
Oui, le 8e mardi.
What are you talking about, madman? There's no 8th Hardy Boy. There's 7 of us and we're all here. Or what? You want to be the 8th Hardy Boy? We ain't hiring.
Actually, boss, we've been talking and we think she could maybe...
She? So there's an 8th Hardy, and it's a Hardy girl? Who might it be?
Mais elle a pas le pied botte ou je sais plus quoi. On a vu qu'elle avait un drôle de pied.
Shut the fuck up, Glenn! I do the talking here. Now what the fuck do you want, cop?
It has to be good, if he won't let you pursue it. Looks like the loot.
So let me get this straight. There is an 8th Hardy Boy. It's a she, and you don't like us talking about her?
That's right. We're not talking about this. This is a private Hardy Boys matter. Nothing to do with your shit. End. You're not cops here. Don't go digging around if you don't want a bullet in the back of your head. I'm watching you.
Ah, vous nous menacez en plus.
Good. We are all watching each other. Officer, your question.
Pendant la course. Du coup, c'est votre œuvre.
The pretty boy. You guys really love talking about that pretty boy.
Funny. But my partner and I have a serious matter to discuss with you.
Pourquoi y a-t-il vos empreintes partout sur le lieu du crime?
You mean these boots?
Oui.
We all got a pair. We wore them the night we took the pretty boy out back and hung him by the neck. Yeah, we did this. Together. All of us. Until he was dead. That's why.
Attends, il avoue? Parce que genre il sait qu'il est intouchable?
There's a catch hidden somewhere. He didn't confess so that you could take them all away. It's too simple.
Il n'a pas avoué afin que tu aies rien pour lui mettre derrière le barreau. C'est aussi simple que ça. Ah, donc vous venez juste de l'avouer le meurtre. Non, bah non. Il n'a pas avoué. Mais ça sent un tour.
There is no catch. These 7 honest men have all equally come forth to tell you what happened, so that you don't waste any more of your time.
All 7 together. They're diluting responsibility. It's an anti-arrest tactic.
Quand cette malencontreuse pendaison a-t-elle eu lieu?
You don't have to answer any of his questions.
I know, Lizzie. Relax. We killed him last Sunday night. Seemed like a good way to end the week.
Depuis combien de temps connaissez-vous la victime?
Known him? We don't associate with scum like that, asshole.
Yeah! Who do you think we are?
Quiet. He came around about 3 weeks ago when that Pines cow first sailed into town. Happy?
Ah. Il a un lien avec la même sur son bateau.
By the Pines cow, you mean Joyce Messier, the representative for White Pines? The same company you're striking against?
No. I mean the Pines cow. The stupid-ass cow they sent in to fuck us over. But why don't you ask her about the pretty boy? I'm sure she has interesting things to say when you ask her hard enough.
That's enough insinuation for today, Titus.
Il est en train de dire allez lui poser des questions sur le pendu. Ouais, bah. J'ai mal géré l'interrogatoire, du coup. Comment l'avez-vous tué?
We hanged him up by his neck until he got real.
Didn't they teach you anything at the cop?
This is where an autopsy would come in handy. You have to work with what you know.
Maybe wrap it up instead?
Après l'avoir vu tuer, parce que c'est...
Why? 'Cause he was worthless mercenary scum. And he stepped out alive in my And he stepped out of line.
What kind of mercenary?
The kind that shows up when you start a strike. The experienced kind, too. Had Kohoi and Semenine written all over him. Ex-Oranese Special Forces.
A live grenade, right here in our bar.
This one has a special gripe with him coming here.
La venue susceptible lui file vraiment la nausée.
I can't prove it, but I know he was sent by the Wild Pines. They hire merc shit like that. Story of every strike from here.
Pensez-vous qu'il était dans les forces spéciales?
Cause one night he walked straight up to the mic and said, "I'm Oranese goddamn special forces, and I'm gonna fuck you all."
Really?
Yeah, really. Had a gin and tonic up there, sang some Oranese paratrooper song, and said he's gonna fuck everyone.
C'est bien, c'est bien, merci.
We couldn't believe it either, but he fucking did, right there. Like some kind...
Sire, the tale is true. This is a serious violation of the karaoke.
C'est vrai. Non, mais alors, qu'est-ce qu'il a fait de mal au juste? Parce qu'il y a un ordre de crimes contre le karaoké.
Wrong. He harassed women, raped one, harassed workers, threatened to kill some as a warning.
Il en a violé une.
From rape to harassment to threats of violence. Why the strange de-escalation?
Ouais, c'est vrai. On part du plus gros pour aller au plus petit.
He regrets mentioning it. Hopes you didn't notice.
To kill us all, if we don't open the gates, if we don't let the scabs in, if we don't bend over. And that was...
Yeah, he said it was his favorite joint now. Started coming here every night. Drinking, grabbing girls. Grab one of ours mid-karaoke, right there on the stage.
Ok. C'était pas un enfant de cœur, quoi.
He grabbed someone?
Yeah. This girl's on the mic. A beautiful girl. Young. Gets into the second verse of Lover Lake. The fucker grabs her legs, starts screaming. Show me your cunt! Why don't you show me your cunt? Then, he gets knocked on the head with a wine bottle. Doesn't even fall down.
C'est la même fille qui l'a agressé sexuellement, violée comme vous dites.
Aren't you fucking listening? My man is talking to you. He took care of it. They got the girl out before anything else could happen.
Yeah, me and Eugene got her out. Aren't you fucking...
There's something odd here. Seems like they don't want to talk about that rape Titus mentioned. Why not? This is a serious allegation.
C'est grave comme accusation.
No, you're not getting the name. That's a Martinez matter. And I'm not discussing it with you clowns.
There's nothing you can do for now. He's stonewalling you.
Qui donne les ordres cette nuit-là?
Are you deaf? There will be no singling anyone out. You can't arrest a Hardy boy. Do you think you could do that? Do you think you could arrest them all?
A trick question. Don't let her lead the conversation.
Who do you fucking think does?
J'avoue qu'il ça, il pas davantage musée qu'agacé. Je pensais que c'était elle. Dessiner le gros Angus, le plus gros des animaux domine la horde. Je parie qu'il s'agit du gros costaud. Faire une courbette devant le barbu. Les gangs sont en général dirigés par leurs membres le plus vieux et le plus vénérable. C'est le 8 mardi, celui qui s'est volatilisé, celui avec la grosse paire de couilles. Non,
Titus, no one was thinking.
Ah non, je passe. Chevelure rompt le silence. Titus, personne insinué que...
That there's any question who's the leader. That's how he would have ended it. Titus won't let him.
No, no, no. Fuck no. The big dick is right here, asshole. You're looking at it. Right.
Ah, t'as vu mon pote? On joue sur ton ego, hein? Alors, Titus, on se sent complexé?
Disregard the outburst, officer. None of the boys have any comments on their power relations. That night, they acted as one. That's all.
How many people have you sent to the Shays?
Chaise électrique is the
Chaise électrique.
in Revachol under the coalition. During the suzerains,
Or send them to Reunion to rot.
Ouais, Cayenne. C'est Cayenne. C'est pas Cayenne, c'est Cayenne. Le Cayenne, c'est... Quoi? Dans ce monde, Cayenne, ça existe.
Rest assured, lawman. None worse than our guy. He got what was coming to him.
Je vous arrêter tout simplement. En vrai, ça marchera pas parce que clairement, ils sont 8 quoi. Bon, on fait quoi maintenant?
Nothing. Your investigation here is done. Leave Martinez, go back.
I think we're going to stick around, thanks. Some things don't add up here. I've done this job for long enough to know that people don't just confess to first-degree murder, even if it is a group responsibility. We're...
Good luck with that. You've heard everything a rent-a-cop is gonna hear from us.
Ah, j'aurais dû me montrer... Ah mince! J'aurais dû vraiment me montrer féroce.
Again, just get the dead guys off. Yeah, lawman. Why don't you?
it's almost an anthropological sight, watching him try to assert.
Not in the arresting mood?
By your side, the lieutenant keeps his hand away from his holster. You hear the nylon of his coat while the little rat-faced man reaches into his sleeve. There's a knife in there. Some of the others reach for their belts. Their eyes are...
Look, coppers, I know you think you're doing your job here, but there are 7 of us.
That's an Easter 50, a Ziemsk-made monstrosity. Almighty God, even Dick Mullen only has a 45.
Pourquoi désintégrer Dick Mullen avec cette pétoire? Renoncer. Il va me tuer, je vais perdre. Il peut littéralement me tuer, il n'y a personne. Il l'a dit, comment il s'appelle Kim. Il a dit même le meurtre de 2 policiers n'enverrait pas les renforts. Mais j'ai appuyé sur la mauvaise touche. J'ai voulu... Oh bah non! Attends, mais non, oh merde. Mais non, je suis revenu une demi-heure en avant. Mais j'ai fait clic, putain.
Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling height window.
Oh là là, faut tout recommencer.
This is where you say your bed.
Detective.
Hey, do not let their squeals disturb your serenity.
What is he?
On va faire la même chose.
We're looking for Titus Hardy.
Wow. The real big dick cups. Look at that. Yeah, look at the big dick. Must be something in the water in general.
Yeah, gave.
Yeah.
You might want to start asking your questions now.
Do a head count first. Starting, sitting across. He spent, and then the M in the far corner. Standard working boot. Steel reinforced on his, let's call this size, in the mid. In conclusion, these 7 are exact.
The fuck is with you, fella? What do you, or what?
Actually, boss.
She?
Shut up!
It has to be.
So let me get the...
That's right. You're not
good. We are all watching each other.
So
They couldn't.
Funny. But my partner and I...
You mean these? We all got...
Yeah. There's a catch hidden somewhere. He didn't confess so that you could take them all away.
There is no catch?
All 7 together.
How many people?
Shares.
Or send them to Reunion to rot. For 20 years. For life.
But you see, a lawman.
Are you deaf? Do you think...
A trick question. Don't let her live.
Who do you fucking think does?
Titus.
That there's...
Disregard the outburst, officer. None... You don't...
I know, Lizzie. Relax.
No.
Yeah.
Quiet.
By the...
No. Why don't you ask her about the pretty boy? I'm sure.
That's enough insinuation for
Allez, vous tuez.
Why? Cause he was worth. And
What kind?
the kind that
Alive.
This one has a special.
I can't prove it.
Cause one.
Really?
Yeah.
We couldn't.
Sire, this is a serious violation of the karaoke code.
Wrong.
From
To kill us.
Yeah.
He grabbed someone?
Yeah. Show me your con. Why don't you?
Aren't you?
Yeah.
There's something. Seems like they don't want to talk about that rape, Titus.
No.
There's nothing you can do for now.
We hanged him up by his.
Didn't they?
This is where an autopsy would come in handy. You have to work with what you know.
Titus.
We overpowered him. Dragged his unconscious body to the tree. Put a noose around it.
Then we left him for seagulls, maggots, and you fucks.
Make them a bit more uncomfortable first. Then see if it all adds up.
Non, c'est rouge.
Titus
Oh
is
oui.
solid as a rock, and so are a few others. But
Avant tout, lequel c'est le plus gardé son sang-froid? Qui craque sous la pression? Celui-ci issu à grande goutte et du mal à respirer. Jusqu'à présent, ils l'ont astucieusement évincé de la conversation sur le maillon faible de la chaise, assurément. Et vous, tournez vers le goût. Vous avez du mal à respirer?
No.
Le front sur quelques mèches bouclées dépassent son épais chapeau en la
Of
neige.
course he's having trouble breathing. Just look at him.
Fuck off, Shanky. Angus is.
keep your eye on this powerful guy. Sooner or later, he's going to break like a piece of twig.
With numbers, asshole. How do you think?
No, he hasn't. Not yet.
Weren't you fucking listening? The fucker came to our bar. It happened right here.
This one has a distinct style. He puts so much whiny emotion into everything he says, it's hard to see if he's lying. But he...
And fuck you, too, copper. Picking on Angus like this. We're done with this schoolyard shit.
His all-muscle comment wasn't sarcastic. He's genuinely trying to look out for Angus. This one is a stone wall. You won't get more out of them about the night of the murder. Not
like what, copper? Yeah, lawman. Why don't you?
It's almost an...
Not in the...
By your... While the little rat-faced man reaches into his sleeve.
Look, coppers. I know you think you're doing your job here.
That's an East Almighty God. The last thing you hear is a little murmur. Not a blast. Not
Bah,
an
j'étais
echo.
sûr que j'allais me faire tuer.
No one screams. It's more dead cops. Sad news from the district of Martinez. The bodies of 2 police officers are found floating in the canal. It is believed the officers were pursuing a murder investigation, but got caught in the dock workers' strike and were gunned down.
C'était sûr. C'était sûr. C'était sûr en fait. C'était sûr en fait. Bon, allez.
This is where you say your bit.
Ah mais ça se trouve j'ai raté à manger cette fois.
Detective.
Hey,
do not let this...
What is...
Hey, ask...
We are looking for Titus Hardy.
What? Real? Yeah, must be something in the water in Jam.
Yeah.
You might want...
Do a head count. Start sitting across. He spent his... And then the M in the far corner. On, let's call size. In the mid and conclusion. Exact.
The fuck is with you? What do you... Or...
Actually...
She...
Shut up!
It has...
So let...
That's right. You're not...
Good. We are all watching it.
C'est votre... Oh, boum, boum.
Funny. But my partner...
Pourquoi ils vont en prendre partout sur le lieu du crime?
Yeah.
Ils vont
There's a catch
confesser.
hidden somewhere. He didn't confess so that you...
There is no cat?
All 7.
How many people...
Shares...
Or send them to reunion to rot. For 20 years.
Ok, c'est quoi?
The River Esperance Correctional Facility. A military prison run by the coalition. Dubbed Reunion by the inmates.
J'ai daté son de l'énigme. Moi je connais l'origine. Mais c'est méta. C'est une origine méta.
Oh, So you are just a simple, well-meaning man, eh? Ever been in solitary?
He's clearly been in solitary confinement.
So is hanging a man. Slow.
Are you deaf? Do you think?
A trick question. Don't.
Who do you fucking think does?
Titus, no one was thinking
That there's...
No.
Disregard the outburst, officer. You don't.
I know, Lizzie. Relax.
no. Yeah.
Quiet.
By the...
No. Why don't you ask?
That's enough insinuation.
Why? I am.
What kind of mercenary?
The kind that...
Alive?
This one has a special...
I can't prove it.
Cause one.
Really?
Yeah.
We couldn't.
Sire, this is a serious violation
Wrong.
He regrets it.
To kill us all.
Yeah.
He grabbed...
Yeah. Show me your con. Why don't you?
Aren't you?
Yeah.
There's some... Seems like they don't want to talk about it.
No.
There's nothing you can do for now.
We
This is where an autopsy would come in.
Titus.
We over.
Then we.
Make them a bit more uncomfortable first. Then, see,
Oui,
actually,
là j'ai raté.
they're admirably... well, this one. But he's always fidgeting. So don't get...
Ah, cette fois j'ai raté. Chier.
No, he hasn't. Not yet.
What you?
This one has a distinct...
Like what, Copper? Yeah.
It's all...
Not.
While the little rat face...
Look, Coppers. I know you think you're doing your job here. But
That's an almighty...
am I gonna have to?
Il a une tête tel un faucon, ses yeux plissés devant deux fentes noires sous sa
That won't
casquette.
be necessary. Let's just all cool off.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here.
Pas très content de me voir. Oh.
Again.
Good.
Nothing. Your investigation here is done.
I think we're going to stick around. I've done this...
Good luck with that. You've heard everything a rent-a-cop is gonna hear from us.
C'est vrai que je suis en autorité moins 2. C'est vrai que je suis en autorité moins 2. Boum. Est-ce que j'ai plus de...
The circus left town, but the clowns are still here.
J'ai un peu plus de... Non, je suis toujours à 3%. Mais je suis à 0 du coup. Ah, bonus d'inflexion, moins 1. Ah, je suis... ah, parce que je suis communiste, c'est vrai. Puis, en tout cas, j'ai déjà moins 2 en autorité, donc je suis à 0 dans tous les cas, donc autant me remettre.
Yes? What do you want to know? Good.
Donc, notre autre autorité. Merci au trafic. Ah, j'ai mon arme à feu aussi. Ce n'est pas le moment. Comment ça, ce n'est pas le moment? Je reviens quand il n'y a plus personne? Pour m'approcher à fond de la vitre et voir mieux? Attends, on va redescendre en bas vers l'écluse là. Je crois que c'était pour revoir ce qui était marqué. Je crois que c'était marqué mardi, c'est ça? Mais un truc là. D'ailleurs, chose, ça avait des égouts, l'odeur acide et agréable, et étrangement déconfortante. Réconfortante. Attends, mais lui aussi c'est un...
You see a Samaran street vendor surrounded by a motley. The name Sileng is embroidered.
Happy shopping, officer. Everything's cool here. Everything's cool. The good, you're very cool. Bang, 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 bang.
You feel a twitch in your index fingers. There's a finger shootout.
Don't shoot, officer. Have we got an arrest here or just a shakedown?
Nah, station.
Of course, I'll come quietly. But perhaps I could convince you to arrest some of my wares, officer. With your money, maybe?
Je convainc de vous donner de l'argent. Rhétorique. Est-ce qu'il y a des trucs qui me fait perdre de la rhétorique? Non. J'ai un qui me fait gagner de la rhétorique. Là, je pourrais perdre de la rhétorique, mais c'est pas le but.
Everything's still cool here, officer.
Start with a little compliment, then work your way up from there. This is about business.
Dites, votre entreprise a l'air de marcher du tonnerre de Dieu. Vous voudriez pas soutenir un membre des forces de police?
Okay.
Pourquoi? C'est un investissement en quelque sorte. Financer un prototype humain hautement expérimental, ma personne, vous en aurez pour votre argent. Spécifique. Il vaut mieux entretenir de bonnes relations avec la MCR, genre... Ah, un petit pot de vin. Allez, un petit pot de vin. Vous financez votre clientèle, il faut encourager la conservation, mec. 1 million de réals.
10 real is a bargain for that kind of investment. You got it, my man. Me? It's a boring story, officer. Who cares about the past?
This man probably comes from Seaguy, sometimes known as the Apricot Suzerainty, an archipelago in the Samaran Isola. Apricot Suzerainty calls to mind an era when the Seaguy archipelago was colonized by Revachol. It's a bit of a slur, in other words.
That's right, officer. But it's a bad scene for business there. Too many regulations. Hey, why not support this local drugs? I don't go in for that, officer. Unless you're into drugs, of course. In which case, drugs are excellent. Mwah! Tasty, tasty drugs.
Moi, je me drogue à fond.
That's very cool. A lot of the coolest detectives do drugs.
Sir, it appears to be true. No drugs in sight. Not in the box of sunglasses or under the speaker.
That's even cooler. You investigating that and all. But, I am not a lorry.
A blatant lie, sire. Yet he tells it with such conviction. We'd believe him if we didn't know better.
Ce que vous êtes pourtant un autre camionneur, vous avez identifié, vous êtes vous et votre véhicule. Ah oui, c'est lui. Là oui, oui, c'est le chinois. C'est l'asiatique. C'est c'est vrai.
So you admit you're a lorry driver?
No, I just said I work harder, and he's an asshole.
Realizing he can't get out of it.
Okay, maybe I'm a lorry driver too, a little, but that's not the most important thing about me.
Vous avez oublié de me le dire, c'est ça?
This is my dream.
Vous avez honte de me le dire?
No, I just forgot. It's such a small part of my life. It's in the rear view mirror.
Selon mes sources. Selon le gros raciste de merde. C'est vous.
Nothing. I told you.
And what crowd?
Crowd, you know.
No, he wasn't talking about an abstract crowd. It was that crowd.
Shush, please. There's bad people doing bad things here. That's all I know. Please, don't get me into this, man.
Here we go. There's a tiny bit of truth on the table. Zoom in on it.
Si vous ne voulez pas être mêlé à cette affaire, mon téléphone, il va falloir nous donner une bonne raison d'être allé voir ailleurs. On est potes, Citizen. Nous, personne ne saura que c'était vous.
It's a she, okay? The other drivers call her the lady driver. You're better off staying away from her. The way they talk about her.
Interesting. Could this driver be connected to the...
Voilà, c'est... Ça se trouve, c'est la meuf qu'on a vue. Et l'autre, il m'a dit, non, le celui-là, c'est une vieille femme.
I don't know. Maybe.
He's not ruling her out.
C'est qui les autres qui parlent? Est-ce qu'elle traîne avec les hardis?
I don't know. I'm not local. I don't know anything about that. All of them. I don't know. I told...
Who exactly is talking about this lady driver of yours? The racist or the other one with the tattoos?
All of them. Even the ones who've left. I don't hang out with them. I don't remember who has tattoos.
Tiens, dit-elle. Deux en mise en scène pour le moment. On vous a promis un pistolet, c'est certain, c'est pour ça que vous êtes devenu flic. Et pourtant, vous là en train de traînasser les bras ballants, tel un tocard qui hante les rues. D'un seul coup, vous êtes censé résoudre des affaires en faisant quoi? En parlant aux gens? Comment vont-ils gober que vous pouvez vous protéger et les protéger des sauvages sans arme à feu? Pas moi. Vous devez réfléchir à ce problème et continuer à gagner vos doigts sous le nez des gens. Ah, j'ai bien envie de l'interroger celui-là. Mais j'ai pas assez de points pour le moment. Mais je suis pas bien loin d'en avoir.
All right. I scored. Let's cap this off with a putt. You keep coming back. That's good, officer. Keep browsing those clothes. Keep saving that economy.
Coup de vent plus 1 en sang-froid, moins 1 en frisson. 1 en sang-froid. J'ai pas un truc déjà qui me donne le sang-froid. Qu'est-ce que c'est là?
You see two lowly, defeated speakers, thralls, slaves basically, perched atop them.
I can see you have a taste for luxury, officer.
A pair of found ultras. The design is impossibly sleek and simple. A futuristic silhouette.
Those sneakers, mister. Those sneakers are the latest found sneakers.
Only that found ultra. We're the future. You remember the slogan from some magazine.
Ah, je perds un en encyclopédie, par contre je gagne un en réactivité et un en coordination visio-tactile. Elles sont pas mal, mais 50, niquez-vous quoi. Alors sauf si je trouve un moyen de gagner beaucoup d'argent, c'est beaucoup quoi.
These once respectable speakers have been conquered, reduced to a mere prop. A small heat emboss on the Venez reads, Solidarity aid from the People's Republic of Samara. The speakers...
No, don't look at the speakers. Look at the sneakers.
J'ai déjà regardé les baskets.
Sneakers are the stars here.
Pauvre petit.
No, don't pity them, officer. These are old Samaran garbage. Don't even look at them.
Samaran trash. That sounds like they're from...
Pourrait pas acheter pour le parent Samaran classé.
These aren't for sale. They're bad speakers. Low...
La merde communiste. Oh, c'est ce qui me plaît chez eux. Moi aussi je suis une merde communiste.
No, officer. You're a high-class policeman who accepts nothing less than the best. Lucky for you, I've got the best on sale.
Ça ne fait rien du tout de ce que je suis. Même moi j'en sais rien. Marquez une pause. Donnez-moi les haut-parleurs.
Well, if you want, but see, they are the pedestal for my sneakers. If I let go of the speakers, if on the other hand, you wanted to buy the sneakers too, I could maybe throw in the speakers for...
Damn, so you have to buy the sneakers.
Ah, c'est un bon, c'est un bon. C'est un bon lui, c'est un bon.
There's a pile of cheap sunglasses in a small...
Ah, oh, j'ai pas de lunettes encore.
You like sunglasses, officer? I've got the latest styles right here.
Fouille dans la boîte.
These are all boring. Boring third-rate ho-hum sunglasses made of cheap... Those UV stickers are almost certainly just there for the show. If anything, These lenses probably direct more UV light into you.
These are all first-rate sunglasses. Premium design, super material, very cool. UV resist.
Abort. These are hideous. What's more, they don't even fit.
Damn, officer. You look like a mega secret spy. Very secret. They're practical.
It's going to be very difficult for...
No, you are definitely not buying those.
Are you sure? But they look so good on you. You should
Super 1 en
blue,
logique.
officer.
No luck.
Ah non.
All you find is this lime-colored cellophane visor, produced by a bargain sportswear brand called Amphibian, apparently. There's a malformed green frog on its bent cap.
Oh, that visor is perfect for you, officer.
Hey, at least it might actually offer some protection against the sun. Not like those cheap plastic shades.
I hope not.
You don't like it? Sure, Square Joe. No problem. Let's get you some real
Ah, en
shit.
perception. Non, attends, je reviendrai quand j'aurai de la... gagné en conceptualisation. J'ai rien pour me faire gagner de la conceptualisation. Ah si. Tiens.
The shine on these sunglasses lasts a life.
Ah non, faudrait que j'améliore. Ah non. Attends. Merde, c'était il y a longtemps ça.
You keep coming back.
You see,
I can see you with taste for luck.
a pair of
Those.
only fun ultra. These one is small
No, don't look at the speakers. These are.
Samaran trash. That sounds
No way, officer. These aren't. No, officer. You're a. Well, but if.
damn. So you
Faut qu'on lui reparle du coup.
Everything's still cool here, officer.
start
Oui.
with a little
Oh, an investment? What kind of investment? Fair point. You can't have a successful
1 million de réals, mais c'est
real
complètement.
is a bargain. Me?
This man probably comes from apricot suzerain.
That's hey, drugs? Unless you're into drugs, of course. That's very.
Sir, it appears to be true.
That's even.
A blatant lie, sir.
Who said that?
So you admit...
No.
Realize
Okay, maybe I'm a lord. Exactly. It's such a small part of my life. It's in the rear view. Nothing.
And...
Crow.
no. He wasn't talking about an abstract crowd. It was the
Shush.
here we go. There's a tiny bit
It's a.
interesting.
Who exactly...
All of them.
He's not rude. He's not
All. We're not doing well.
Ah.
Let me call the Russians.
Hello! Hello Azix. Salut Flo. Salut les Tropicana. Je sais même pas comment t'appelles ta communauté. Les Tropicana? Parce que t'es Oasix Tropical.
There's a
Comment
pile of
allez-vous?
cheap sunglasses.
You like sunglasses, officer?
Those you
These are all first rate.
Allez, on réussit là. Faire un lancer de dés là.
Super.
no.
Non.
Oh,
Hey, at least it might act.
I hope not.
you don't like it?
Putain, je peux pas augmenter ça. Bah ouais, pour Oasix et c'est Tropicana quoi. Ça aurait été un bon nom, je pense. Bon nom de communauté, voilà. Ah oui, ça c'est le fameux pont dont il parlait. Ah, bonjour monsieur. Vous êtes qui?
G'day to you, officers.
Ah, bien le bonjour. Ouais, non mais c'est pour ça que j'ai fait la blague. J'ai vu passer. J'ai vu que t'avais teasé un truc sur l'Oasix Tropical. J'avais beaucoup ri. Officieusement les palmiers. Ok, les palmiers. Pourquoi les palmiers? Je sais qu'il y a tout un trip autour des palmiers et des noix de coco, des noix de coucou là. Même sur le Discord.
A burly man hangs out by the waterlock.
Ah ouais. Ah bah bien sûr. C'est logique maintenant que tu l'as dit.
His eyes are fixed on a man stranded on the other side of the waterlock and on an enormous billboard that has fallen down into the canal between them.
Que faites donc ici, mon brave?
My friend Barry the Butcher is stuck on the other side of the waterlock. I'm keeping him company and eating his salami.
From the corner of your eye, you see a man in a yellow shirt and grey overalls waving at you from across the canal. He seems disappointed about the wreckage.
Ah, moi qui pensais que tu faisais juste de la pub gratuite pour Oasis, quoi. Oh là là. Moi qui pensais que tu faisais de la pub pour les chaussures. T'as juste rajouté un A en plus, un O en plus.
Very good stuff. Anything I can do for you, officer?
Savez-vous qu'est-ce qui a causé les dégâts? Montrez pas
I
comme.
wasn't here to witness it, but those look like tire tracks on that sign. Weird, huh? Then again, plenty of daredevil drivers in Rivershaw.
Ah oui.
Too bad it also takes a year and a day to repair anything around here, especially a waterlock. The rest of
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a le long de la côte?
well, there's the fishing village, an abandoned fish market, a bizarro church. Not much use to the congregation though. There always seems to be something wrong with it.
Non mais encore 8000 trucs à explorer, quoi.
Yeah, not really much else. Just
Est-ce que je pourrais avoir un bout de saucisson?
sure thing.
Oh là là, mais quel mec sympa, quoi. Il me donne un morceau de saucisson, quoi.
It is savory. It is chewy.
Want some too, officer?
Why not?
Le considère pendant un instant, puis décide d'accepter. Il prend une tranche de saucisson et la porte à sa bouche. Ah, voilà, ça c'est un homme bien. Un homme qui partage son saucisson. Ok, ok. Le panneau est tombé.
A crumpled billboard reading Samaran butter soaks in the canal. Too ugly. The sign billboard has fallen on the waterlock.
Essayez de déterminer ce qui s'est passé ici. Une voiture.
Size of the impact and the parallel lines of burnt rubber, the cause was probably a motor vehicle.
Regardez le cratère.
Side slip marks indicated that the vehicle was traveling up the crater at 35 kilometers an hour.
Putain, mais c'est la même voiture qui a pété la barricade là-bas. Mais c'est quoi cette bagnole? Regarde autour de la cabane.
The black marks on the roof indicate that the vehicle vaulted from the crater to the roof of the shack.
Quoi, elle a fait un sacré plongeon. Le tout en métal glissant. Mais en fait, ah non, mais il a fait un jump. Un piqué renversé.
The vehicle soared through the air, hitting the billboard and upsetting the posts. Then it continued its flight.
La pancarte.
The sign broke the vehicle's fall into the canal. The Samaran butter billboard still looks freshly painted, suggesting it took the plunge recently.
Comme ça, il y a
within the past 72 hours.
Regardez la rive opposée. Ah bah il est passé.
Speeding, the vehicle made a loop and vanished into the fog along the coast.
Quel était le modèle de ce véhicule fantôme?
There are two good candidates, the Caprice 40 and the Linéaire G22.
Voilà, Capri 40.
It's about the right size, and the tire marks look like they came from the skinny tires frequently found on that motor carriage. The Caprice 40 is a very popular model, with bank clerks, topping pie delivery
Les vents de nappage de gâteau.
teachers, cops, strippers dressed as cops, undressed strippers.
Les flics? Bah non, j'allais dire, ne dites pas que c'est moi qui fais cette connerie en étant bourré, mais comment je serais revenu?
Very sturdy but light motor carriage, more likely than most to survive that jump. The Linéaire G22 is not a particularly popular model due to its peculiar proportions, which you'd have to follow the tracks to be sure. The lieutenant looks on.
Alors, que je vous explique. Du hooliganisme routier inconscient. C'était du hooliganisme, monsieur. Ce sont des manœuvres de haut vol. Je veux rencontrer le pilote qui lui serrait la pince.
What kind of car do you think it was?
Une Linea G22. Bah, ça peut être l'un ou l'autre. Apparemment, la Linea G22 aurait plus de chances de survivre à une telle cascade.
That's quite likely, from what I can tell.
Oh là, il semble impressionné. Merci, merci Kim. Je pense qu'on reste l'identité du conducteur. Quoi? Bah non.
Oh.
C'est quelqu'un de vraiment cool et courageux. Comment dire, t'es quelqu'un de dangereux. En fait, je peux...
The traffic hooliganism? I hope not. Fortunately, we are not traffic cops. Should we get back to the murder?
Je connais Jacob Irv. C'est qui lui? Ah, c'est qui lui?
You thought
No.
very touching story. It's shit though. Nope, you're already telling it. Yes, this is good.
Oh bah non.
No, it's shit.
Il était sorti boire avec ses collègues quand il a appris la nouvelle et plein de fierté personnelle. Il est monté dans sa ligne immédiate et a filé dardard à la clinique.
Yes, yes, that could very well have been it. Now let's move on. We are not traffic. If we must.
Autre mode. Vous savez, on est des policiers, on est en train d'enquêter sur un meurtre. Oh, wow, des traces de pneus, venez, on va enquêter dessus. Mais monsieur, bordel. J'adore Kim comment il répond à mon envie d'aller explorer ce RPG, quoi. Mystère de trafic. Trouve le chauffard. Du coup, c'est quand déjà? Demain? Demain qu'il est réparé, c'est ça? Mercredi?
Rusting control panel. This panel usually closes the water lock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal.
Non, c'était marqué où?
Pull the lever. Nothing happens. A spring brings the lever back to its original position.
Mercredi.
You still need to close the water lock. Wasn't there a sign over there saying
Ouais, c'est un panneau disant mercredi. Vous pouvez vous rendre sur la côte, mais vous devez utiliser le panneau de commande pour bloquer les opérations devraient être terminées mercredi matin. J'ai accès à une nouvelle zone de la ville. Putain. C'était déjà pas assez immense comme ça, quoi. Un banc. Je peux parler au banc? Comment ça, je peux parler au banc?
The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bed.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to pass the time when Lieutenant Kitsuragi is gone.
Vous pouvez revenir à ce banc dès que vous avez besoin de passer le temps quand le temps n'est pas égaux. Ah, c'est si genre... Ah, mais si genre je paye pas, je peux venir dormir sur le banc tel un gros clochard. Ah. Si je paye pas ma chambre d'hôtel, je peux faire le gros clodo, quoi. Putain, je vais retourner voir l'autre, là, la petite bourge, là. Eh meuf, tu m'as pas tout dit, hein.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Word has traveled, yes, but nothing of real substance has...
One of the tall buildings overlooking the roundabout. It would give them a
It appears we are being monitored every step we take, colleague. Did we have any other business here?
Non. Ok, d'accord, j'ai compris. Barrons-nous. Elle va pas nous laisser rentrer. Fumeur de balcon pour être un témoin. Parlez-lui. Mais je peux parler encore à lui, oh là là, mais je peux parler à tellement de personnes.
You see a young man on a balcony nursing a cigarette. His eyes have been following you.
Not looking for any trouble, officer.
Malgré la froid, sa chemise est déboutonnée. Ah, c'est un mec stylé, genre il fume avec la chemise ouverte, même s'il fait moins 40, quoi.
It's the voice of someone who has something to hide, my liege.
Vous avez quelque chose à cacher, n'est-ce pas?
There's no trouble. I'm just speaking in a lowered voice.
Ouais, bien sûr.
I don't want to be seen talking to the gendarmerie if that's okay.
La gendarmerie. Non, vraiment, le jeu a l'air de se situer dans bah, c'est une dystopie de notre monde, mais on a l'impression d'être à Haïti ou comme un genre, bien qu'il n'y ait pas que. Pas tous à moitié français là.
Don't let him go. This could be your witness. The balcony has a great view of the
En
whole
fait,
thing.
la gendarmerie a vraiment besoin de vous parler.
Is it really that important?
Like a nervous cat, he keeps stealing looks at the neighboring windows.
Ah.
All right, but make it quick. Once I finish this cigarette, I have to run.
Vous pouvez me dire votre nom?
My name? My name is Martin Martinez.
Je te gueule.
That's definitely not his real.
No, of course not. Could you please lower your voice?
Il scrute la cour. C'est aussi silencieux que les entrailles d'un puits où chaque son produit un écho. Il y a une très belle vue sur la cour arrière où il y a le pendu.
I'd even go so far as to say that the view is a little too good, my dear gendarme.
Ah, des
Do you have
gendarmes.
an estimate of when the body will be taken away?
We will remove the body as soon as possible. Now tell us, where were you last Sunday?
Oh. You already asked me that, didn't you?
Non.
Wait, is someone else investigating the lynching?
Vraiment.
No, not you two. Some more muscular type.
Titus?
And when did you speak to this more muscular gentleman?
Last week? I don't know. Look.
Il observe nous la cour des vieilles chaises de jardin et plantes intérieures flétries jonchent les lieux.
He's an actor declaiming a soliloquy.
C'est un acteur.
See how you hang on his every word.
You didn't answer the question. What were you doing last Sunday?
Ah, c'est un acteur, c'est pas un.
I had a friend over. It was my Sunday friend.
C'est mon ami du dimanche.
He doesn't reply, gesturing no with his cigarette. In the neighboring windows, you can see faint reflections.
No. We won't. Now, if you'll excuse me, I really need to get going.
Merde, j'ai pas beaucoup. J'ai que 58. Allez! Que la chance soit avec moi! Yes! Oh là, j'ai mis un parfait. Moi, je lui ai mis une réussite critique, quoi. Le mec, je lui ai dit non, tu restes là, connard. Bon, écoutez, vous baissez la voix. Je veux juste que tout rentre dans On peut voir à nouveau dans un autre endroit?
For a moment, the man on the balcony seems almost vulnerable. Something moves in the depths of his feline.
I am sorry, but I really don't have the information you're looking for.
But hold on, what's that? For a split second, his hand lingers.
Ouais, il veut me montrer la clé.
Good luck with the investigation.
Il y a une clé cachée. Bien sûr, bien sûr. Oh, il roule du cul. Oh, waouh.
He's gone. No point in running. Tenements like these often have multiple exits. If he doesn't want to talk to us, then he'll know how to hide. He could be a witness. Him or his Sunday friend. Either way, he did leave us a sign. Did you see that?
Cette
He
pierre
wanted
là-bas.
to draw our attention to that. If
Oui,
we
j'ai
find
vu.
a way inside the building, we can ask around for his apartment.
Super, allons-y. Voilà, fais voir.
A stone, like
Retournez.
there's a key beneath it. Thrust.
This must be for the front door. Pity it doesn't have the apartment number on it. This building has many apartments and the man can be in any of
Quand
them.
on trouve le bon.
We'll just have to go in and see.
Ah oui, je trouve les clés. J'ai trouvé les clés. Les clés du bonheur. Oh là là, c'est bon, on est reparti pour 8000 ans d'inspection. Des avis d'expulsion d'animaux de compagnie disparus sont placardés les uns sur les autres. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Oh, bah voilà! Ah, je perds de l'autorité. Je gagne en logique, mais je perds en comptabilité. En comptabilité. Bobo Guédro. Je perds en autorité parce que je deviens un bobo, quoi. Moi, je suis déjà à -2, j'ai envie de te dire. Tu as combien d'autorité là avec mon truc? À -1. À moins, je suis déjà à -2. Ah oui, c'est vrai que je suis à 0 dans tous les cas. Allez, mettons-les, quoi. Ah, on voit pas. Attends, faut voir, enlève mon bonnet là. Oh mon dieu. Ah, remets ton bonnet là. Mais je gagne 1 en logique. Je suis encore plus logique. Ça me paraît bien logique. Peut-être encore plus logique. Balcony. Ah, on peut aller là où il était. Bon, on a vu par où il est parti. Donc, c'est-à-dire qu'il serait par là. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a là-dedans? De l'argent. Les rideaux bougent à peine. Quelqu'un vous observe de l'intérieur. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a là-dedans? Oh, il y a beaucoup de bouteilles. Une simple porte circuler, il n'y a rien à voir pour l'instant. Dépôt. Quelqu'un fait pousser du romarin, du thym et un cactus. J'ai du romarin. Ah non, c'est pas ça. J'ai du bon tabac. Je peux piquer des chaussures. Ah non. Je suis caché de l'argent dans les chaussures. Étoile à 5 branches sur le mur. Étoile à 5... Quoi?
That isn't just a five-pointed star. It's an inverted white pentagram cradled in a wreath of antlers. The iconography of communism.
Oh
in
là là.
other words.
Un coucou.
The star and antlers was developed in the 6th decade of the last century and quickly adopted by Mezov. Even today, half a century after, the star and antlers retains the ability to evoke hope, disappointment, and fear in
Pourquoi
equal
cette était là en
to
veille?
symbolize the toppling of the also some social democrats were already using it.
Quel rapport avec les bois?
The wreath of antlers represents a natural crown. It was about building a society that could exist in accord with the natural world, and at the same time.
Pourquoi blanc du coup? Parce que la pureté?
Because white is the color of peace.
Qu'est-ce que ça m'évoque?
God is the glory of hope. Only the scribblings of impoverished. You are the big communism builder now. It's you or no one.
Ah non, non, j'ai pris un malus parce que je me suis rendu compte que j'étais... Combien? Ah, allô? Combien d'argent? Beaucoup. Carte postale. Boogie Street. Année 46. Cette carte postale chiffonnée représente un marché plein de gens de Boogie Street. Dis-le bien ça. Pas de Boogie Street. Un commerçant souvent pose devant son étalage où sont accrochés des coques pendues par les pattes. Un flot de sang s'écoule dans la rue boueuse parmi les silhouettes indistinctes des passants. C'est sympa. Ah, c'est la fameuse concierge là qui nous casse les couilles. Non, je vous laisserai pas rentrer. C'est dit par l'immobilière de Martinez. Oula, ravagé ça part. En dessous, la mer grise semble glaciale. Quelqu'un a démoli le mur. Oula, bonsoir. Une vite liste sur la table et des mordeurs bancaires. Oh, de l'argent et un truc pour de la vie. Mais je m'en fous, moi, de la santé. Moi, je veux un truc en rapport avec pour le moral, là. Et là, on va ressortir de l'autre côté. Ok. Je vois. Et on peut monter sur le balcon où il y a l'autre... L'autre meuf qui fait sa maline, là. Parce qu'elle porte des vêtements de grand-mère. C'est du loot. Oh, mais c'est immense encore. Oh, une bouteille, tiens. Yes.
Ruination has come. The broken arches betray the once grand history of this building. It towered over the harbor. A great force from the northeast fired into the city. Heavy artillery shelled the coastline. The tenement acted as a defensive wall against the worst of the shelling until it was destroyed, and they had a direct firing line. The waves of the Martinez Inlet rolled over the fallen. What didn't fall into the ocean was used as scrap. What wasn't used as scrap was thrown into the ocean.
C'est un cercle. Regardez les ruines dans l'eau.
Those arches acted as support for something greater than what you... Only 3 stories stand where 9 to 12 once did. Restoration has failed. What the shelling took out was never rebuilt. A fleet,
Vous avez des gars.
the combined armies of Occident and Grad, with Mesk volunteers.
Oui, c'est pendant la Révolution.
Army. They massed airships further down in the Bay of Revachol. The artillery was so powerful. The ships not only required gyro, many are still there to this day.
Allez, nos supérieurs.
If you squint, you can just barely see the shadow on the water. Coalition warship Archer can shoot.
C'est vrai qu'il y a bombardé notre ville.
Coalition. But that was a long time ago.
He doesn't like talking politics of this kind.
Ok, ok. Compris. Attends, je vais aller me chercher un petit point là. Oui. Flingue digital, j'ai envie de l'intérioriser là. Oui. Ah voilà. Flingue. Bouteille. Là, il y a la fameuse gamine. Là, il verra de l'argent. Yes, plein d'argent. Les heures et cerveau, vous ne pouvez pas entrer. La chaise est neuve, quelqu'un vit ici. Ça mène où, ça? Dans un des appartes? Voilà. Regarde la ville. Oh, Chin de l'ouvrier. J'ai gagné en 1 en électrochimie et je perds en réactivité. Il n'y a pas que le cul dans la vie, moins de réactivité. Petit cul divin. Bien que ce soit usé, son ancien propriétaire avait probablement été d'un petit cul tout droit descendu des cieux. Ce cul résolument viril en forme de pêche a totalement façonné le tissu que vous vous demandez s'il ne pouvait pas également donner un peu de lustre à votre arrière-train à la dérive. Ah ouais, c'est quand on joue... je joue pas ce genre de... Je joue pas la force brute. Essai de charbon produisait plusieurs divers, ça sent les produits chimiques. Quelqu'un a dormi ici récemment. Ça va être la gamine, Cindy, ouais. Alors Cindy?
Oh, the piggies have learned how to saunter up staircases. I didn't think you could do that with hooves.
C'est vrai, on a évolué. T'es dans la merde, les filles. Nous, les flics, on n'aime pas les portes fermées ou les perchoirs inaccessibles ou les gens qui sont dans une position plus élevée que la nôtre. C'est vrai, on a évolué.
Yeah, I can see that.
That smell coming from her paint bucket. It's not paint. It's heavy fuel oil.
Ooh.
Red-dyed heavy fuel oil is only used in government vehicles, or at least that's the idea.
Celui dans la réserve du charbon, c'est le tien.
Oh, not only have you found my address, you've discovered my biggest secret.
She does have eyes that seem to be smeared with coal.
T'es mineuse? T'as pas de vrai domicile? C'est pas l'endroit le plus raison, mais c'est mieux que rien.
It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing does. Like me. Right?
T'es mineuse?
Yes. I
Oui,
keep
je suis
hoping
pas
the
majeur.
shaft will collapse on me. But somehow, it never does anyone in a city like this.
D'accord, j'ai une
Shoot,
question.
piggy.
C'est pas du carburant réservé au carburant, ça?
What did you think I was using? Aquarels? Sucked it out of a cop's fuel tank myself.
Regarde un flic à Jamrock.
She really did it. She's proud of it too.
Et la peur, c'est pas bon pour le cerveau. Il ferait mieux de me le donner. Quelle remarque culturelle intelligente.
Oh, what? You'll push me off this ledge and pry the bucket from my dead hands?
Bon, ça sert pas à grand chose de lui parler. Bon allez, on explorera cette grande baraque jeudi. On rejouera au jeu jeudi après-midi. Hop. Hop. Bon YouTube, au revoir. J'espère que tu kiffes parce que les grosses VO2 de 3h30 où on fait que raconter notre vie, c'est sympa quoi.